And we are live on Digital Charcuterie, and it's been a hot minute since we were live. Welcome back, everybody. It's me, Andrew Fantasia, your fourth favorite bald person, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what your rankings are like anymore. I hope I'm still up there. And I'm joined by three other people with better hair than I have. That's mainly why I invited them today. Let's see. If we go clockwise from where I am looking, we have the Mele Monkey is here joining us. Hello, sir.
G'day, folks. How you going? Excited to be here.
We better be excited to be here. This is a big moment. I hope everybody at CMON is watching. And we also have Mr. Nelly in our next spot. Nelly, hello.
Hey, how's it going? I don't know how to feel about that hair comment.
And of course, we have Mr. Diversion Architect himself, Dave. Hello, sir.
Hey.
How you doing today?
Good. Glad to be here.
Now, I invited you all here because you all hate Marvel. I think that was that's what you hate, Marvel and board games.
Yeah, I would say I've got tired of it, but I've just always hated it. I've never really been interested in it. Yeah.
And just the hobby of board gaming in general is just like, why? What's the point? So we're actually here to talk about whiteboard erasers. That's what the stream's going to be about. It's a big one. We're expecting a lot of whiteboard eraser talk, debate. It's going to get heated for a while. But no, that's actually not what we're here for. We're here for wish lists, the ultimate wish list, in fact, because I consider the three of you guys, like, not only are you just great people in general, but you have, all three of you have such an all-encompassing great fandom, just heart full of love for Marvel and for Marvel United. So I knew that when I was thinking about this challenge, I figured, okay, these guys will come up with great ideas that I haven't even thought of. And the combinations we're going to get today are going to be exciting. Before I dive into exactly how today's going to work for the folks watching, I guess we should put a big old asterisk on this video, because when I first thought of this concept, I think even before I sent it to you guys, the United fandom world was in a much more secure place than it is right now, particularly the DC part of it. If you're a DC United backer right now, you're probably crossing every finger until you have. And I'm right there with you, my friends. It's kind of a precarious situation we're in. We don't know what the future is going to hold. So a wish list is obviously something that's a lot more of an optimistic thing now than it was 3 months ago when I thought of the idea in the first place. So just to get that elephant out of the way, yes, I understand that this is definitely, when I came up with the idea, it was we're sitting on Santa's lap asking for cool stuff. And now it's like, we're still sitting on Santa's lap, but it's July and Santa is trying to, get himself composed. And he's like, please leave me alone. I have a lot of things on my plate. So we get it. we know things are tough right now and they're tricky. And we just hope, CMON and Spin Master and everybody can pull through, and who knows. And maybe what we talk about today will happen one day. Maybe it won't. But that's why we have people like you guys who can homebrew, because that's always a nice little fallback. So the plan today is we are putting together an ultimate wish list of Marvel United characters. But we've all heard the wish lists, right? Everybody has heard these wish lists, but we gave ourselves a little bit of a challenge. And our challenge was we are looking at a bunch of different pockets from the Marvel universe. And each of us was allowed to pick only one hero, one villain, one anti-hero, and one support character from each pocket. And when we say pockets, we're talking the SpiderMan side of everything, the mutants of everything, the cosmic world, the supernatural world, etc. So, there's still a lot of great Hulk villains that are left on the table. We could only pick one Hulk villain. There's still a lot of great X-Men heroes left on the table. We can only pick one X-Men hero. So that was our challenge. And I wanted to know, before we get into it, did you find that limitation made it harder or easier for you to pick? I'll start with you, Dave.
I think harder. I mean, obviously, picking one X-Men hero, I had to work pretty hard to try and squeeze X-Men into these other places where they could.
If they have the letter X in their name, would that help as well?
Every one of your answers is like this X-Force character, except he's wearing a Fantastic Four uniforms.
Remember that one issue where they teamed up with the Fantastic Four? Yeah. So, but yeah, it did kind of get me to dig in a couple other areas that I definitely am not as familiar with. So we'll see what you think of my picks for those areas. But it was a lot of fun. I did only cheat once. No, I cheated twice. So yeah. So I feel pretty good about that. I know Dan's probably got like entire boxes.
I'm just waiting to talk about how much cheating I've done.
Nelly, how about you? How did the search go for you for these people?
So it was hit or miss depending on the pocket. Like the universes that I was like very knowledgeable in and read a lot of comics on, that was very difficult to narrow it down to one. The universes that I wasn't too familiar with or only have like, passing knowledge or just kind of from whatever I've heard from others, that one was a little easier because then it was just like looking characters up, like, oh, this guy looks cool. What do they do? Oh yeah, that'd be cool for United. Done. But for like the ones that I actually knew about, so like SpiderMan specifically, because that was kind of like what got me into comics. So like SpiderMan and X-Men, those were hard to kind of narrow down, and I look forward to seeing how much overlap our lists have.
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's no overlap. I would be like a little impressed, but I would not be surprised because I feel like you guys can find some characters that are just outside of my knowledge for sure. What about you, Mele Monkey? How did this search go for you?
Yeah, I think like what you guys have said so far kind of mirrored my experience as well. There were certain pockets, so like X-Men, Thor, I guess, and then maybe the cosmic stuff. I had a few that I sort of could go straight to, but again, I think I found both concepts hard because I found it hard going like, oh, I have no idea who is in the Fantastic Four apart from the Fantastic Four. So like, I was like, I need to look this up. So, so there was a lot of like Google searching and that sort of thing. So that was sort of tricky in that sense. But then, yeah, the ones where I was familiar with it, that was a lot of like, oh man, I can only pick one. So, but it was fun sort of coming up with like why was I going to pick that character, or like trying to come up with something a little fun. So that was good. And yeah, I kind of kept going back and forth between like, oh man, we're going to have a lot of crossover, to like, wow, this is like a real deep cut. Like I don't think anyone else is going to pick this. So I hope that we get like some crossover on the real deep cuts. That'd be awesome if we do.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was a fun exercise. It was really cool, and it was like Marvel United itself. You go, like, you see a lot of complaints about, oh, there's too many like nothing characters, or like, oh, they'll never do a season 4, because there's not enough left in the barrel, sort of thing. But it's like, it's those characters where you're learning about them as you sort of discover them, and I think it's a lot of fun. Marketability wise, I don't know, and global financial situations aside, I think a season 4 could be a lot of fun because of all the learning about these new characters and stuff that people could do. So yeah, that's a positive spin on it.
Oh heck yeah! If it gets kids excited about somebody like Agatha Harkness, I am down. Like,
that's right.
Yes. So for the folks at home, here's a quick rundown of the pockets of the Marvel Universe we're going to be talking about. And I guess we'll go in this order too, just to make things easier. So we have the Spider-Man pocket. We have the X-Men / Mutants pocket. Dave, I can't wait to see what you ended up narrowing down here. Talk about killing your darlings.
He'll just put the darlings in the other pockets.
Exactly. They'll pop up somewhere else. Then after that is the Fantastic Four. Iron Man, Thor / Asgard, Hulk. The Hulk pocket's a nice pocket. Cosmic and space. There's a lot going on out there. The supernatural side of Marvel. And finally, everything else, miscellaneous, whatever doesn't quite fit into everything that we've mentioned before. So that's what we're looking at. And let's start with everybody's favorite wall crawler, the Spider-Man pocket. Dave, tell us what you came up with for your hero in the Spider-Man pocket. Who are you choosing?
So I just love the design of this character, so I had to go with him. And this is from the Across the Spider-Verse movie version of Spider-Man India.
Nice.
I love that character. And it's funny because I remember looking him up right after that and I was like, oh, this costume's not nearly as fun. But the one in the movie was
Yeah, he's awesome. He was such a fun character to watch. Yeah, he was good.
That was a great Spider-Man, and definitely one of the biggest Spider-Man variants that's still sorely missing from this game.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Nelly, who did you come up with for your hero?
So I did my best to not actually pick like a Spider-Man character with the sheer amount. So I have Norman Osborn, more specifically the Gold Goblin.
Oh,
I don't know this person.
Yeah.
The TLDR, after he gets kind of like more or less cured of like his goblinness, he just kind of works with Peter like on the tech side. And when Peter gets overwhelmed by some hobgoblins, he puts on like a golden goblin armor suit with glider and fights alongside Spider-Man.
Cool.
Very cool.
Kind of like an Iron Man version of Green Goblin or something. Yeah, awesome.
I like that a lot. Okay, beautiful. Meeple Monkey, what you got?
Yeah. See, this is it, right? It's like learning about characters like this. You know? Like, oh man, that'd be really cool, you know. And if we never get a season 4, that's where Homebrew's at. So let's make Golden Goblin happen. So, so I sort of went the same route as Dave here. I went to that movie, what was it called, Across the Spider-Verse or whatever it was. Yep. And I'm sort of kicking myself now that I didn't pick. What's his? Is it Spider-Man India? What's his actual name?
Parvati, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what his official spider name was. Maybe it was just Spider-Man or something. But that's an awesome pick. So that's really cool. But now thinking about it, if I had thought of it, I probably would have realized that Dave was going to pick it. So I might have gone with this one anyway, because I know how excited Dave was when we had that character in the movie, because he's awesome. And you're right, we need him in the game too. But my character, I was close with going with T-Rex Spider-Man. I don't know what they called him, like Spider-Rex or whatever his name was, but I thought, no, we've already got a big dinosaur in the game, so let's go with, and I don't know if this is his actual name, but let's go with Spider Car. Remember there was like, in the movie, there was a character where the car itself was actually...
It was like Peter Park's car, I think the name was.
Peter Park's car. Yeah. Amazing. And we need a little chibi spider buggy. I think that'd be the perfect thing for Marvel United, like a little buggy car sort of thing with like a little face on it and stuff. Very cool. And you can imagine the sort of stuff you could do with the cards, with the rules and stuff. That'd be a lot of fun. We've got precedent. We've got a little car model with the Batmobile now and DC superheroes. So bring on Spider Buggy, I think. So that's what I'm going to call him, Spider Buggy. So I don't know what his actual name is, but that's my pick. I think that'd be cool.
Wow. This is why I bring you guys on a show like this, because these answers are all stupendous.
Yeah, that's 3 good choices. See, who says it's like season 4 can't have any good? Like, that's amazing. Right? I'd buy a box with that stuff in it.
Now I feel underdressed. I feel kind of boring with my hero pick, because you know me, my brain really goes to the cartoons first, and then it goes everywhere else second. And just to kind of put a thorn in the side of a gentleman named Avi Arad, who was known for being kind of a curmudgeon back in the day, who was producing all those old cartoons. He would yell at Toy Biz, the toy company, for saying, nobody wants to buy a toy of an old lady in a chair. And I'm going to say, No, I absolutely do, Mr. Arad. I want Madam Web. I want old school Madam Web with her giant chair and her dress with like no leg on it. And I just want all of that. Yes, she'll probably be OP because she could do a lot of weird stuff in that cartoon, but I don't care. I want it with a sound chip that has Stan Lee's wife's voice in it too.
Well, I think that's actually a really good choice because it's like she's relatively well known now, I guess. Like even I had heard of her because of that movie with was it a Sony movie or a Fox movie, whatever, that's just recently come out. And yeah, so like and you can imagine the model like with that chair and everything, like that's like you could do a lot of cool stuff with that as well. I think that'd be a good choice. So I think that's a solid choice, Andrew. That's good. I think again, let's get a box of this. We'll call it Spider Peeps, and it'll be really cool.
Peeps. Yeah. It comes with some marshmallows too. All right. Now it's time for villainy in the Spider Universe. And the well has been tapped, but it has not been tapped dry. So I'm really curious here who you pulled from the Rogues Gallery. Dave, who did you choose?
Can I just interrupt here? Can I just double check? So we're talking villains, not anti-heroes at this
That's
stage,
right.
is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Spider-Man, a red Spider-Man character.
I've written my list. I've written my list in the wrong order then. So if I say the wrong name, forgive me throughout this video. So adjust. Sorry, Dave.
Well, so I think technically this is an anti-hero, probably, but I'm thinking of again more of the Across the Spider-Verse kind of versions of things. So I'm picturing the Prowler from the Miles Morales universe. The because I think the regular Prowler ended up becoming a hero at some point. But yeah, I'm specifically thinking of like Miles's uncle as the Prowler. I thought that was so fun. I love the sound bites. When that character came on screen, there was always this like shrieking noise that was so good. Yeah.
They made him terrifying in that film.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. Prowler is an excellent pick. All right, Nelly.
Well, I hope you're looking forward to hearing about Prowler when we get to the anti-hero section. For villain, I went with Spider Goblin. Sticking with the Goblin storyline. Craven has like a spear with all of Norman Osborn's sins and tries to basically stab Norman to bring him back to Goblin, and Peter intercepts it. So he ends up taking on all of Norman's sins and becoming Spider Goblin.
Another cool. That's I'm liking these picks. I'm finding out more and more about the Spider-Verse because this was a pocket where I was like, I don't know, there's Spider-Man and there's like Sinister Six guys. Like, who else is there? So this is cool. Excellent.
I had an action figure of Spider Goblin that I got for Christmas in 1996, and I just remember his arms, and he would go.
Does he have a glider?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
That's great. I love it. Mele Monkey.
All right, so villains, right?
Yes.
All right, villains. Okay, so speaking of Sinister Six or Sinister Syndicate or whatever they're called, I've gone with one. I couldn't go past this character because of the work that Andrew has put into a certain character, and the fact that I know this is one that he is sorely missing. And you know, when we were putting this character together, I thought it was a lot of fun. So I would like to see an official Simon take on Hydroman. I think he'd be a lot of fun. I think we could have a lot of fun with the model with some translucent blue watery effects and that sort of stuff as well. So Hydroman is my pick for a villain. Yes, I think he'd be a lot of fun, game wise, model wise, and just he'd fit in with that. What do they call it? What do they call that mode with the combined guys for the Sinister Six? Assembled, yeah. He'd fit right in with that too. So, yeah. Hydroman, he's my choice.
Thank you for flying the Hydroman flag. I got real close to picking him.
See, I thought we'd have some crossover there.
It was almost there, man. It really was. And then I opted out for reasons you'll see later in the video.
Yep.
But I went with somebody who, at the end of the day, I don't even care how he plays. I just want to see the Marvel United chibi version of this guy, and that's Jack-O-Lantern. I need this character so badly. I think he sits on like a little disc, and that's his glider. But just the idea of having that dude in this game, like, take my money. That's please, let's get a Jack-O-Lantern happening in here.
Did I see Dave or Nelly in the Discord? Did I see someone post up somewhere like some art or something for Jack-O-Lantern or something, or requesting like homebrew? I feel like someone has at least talked about that in the homebrew community. I don't know if we ever got anything. I don't think we've got an actual deck of cards or anything for him yet. But I think I did see someone's like brewed up some chibi art or something for him or something like that. So you never know. You're like, we might get something down the track anyway. So yeah, Jack-O-Lantern.
Beautiful.
Cool, yeah.
All right, it's purple time now, my friends. And I feel like some crossover is about to happen here, but let's see, Dave. Who's your anti-hero?
So my anti-hero comes from the Dark Web event. I really enjoyed that. It's funny because I haven't read the original Inferno, and I'm not sure that I would like the original Inferno because I think a lot of the things in it are pretty like tasteless looking back on them. But there's some elements that I thought were really fun. In particular, in Dark Web, they had the like random things coming to life as like demons. That was really fun. Like there's a stroller that like becomes a demon and wants to eat the baby. Great stuff. But not that character, but Hallows Eve, who came from that, who is a girlfriend of Ben Reilly. And her ability is really fun. She has a bag of masks that she got from Madeline Pryor. And when she puts on each mask, she gets a supernatural power tied to that mask. It's like a magic trick. So she'll put on a mask and become like, she can like a ghost, and she can go through walls and stuff, or she'll turn into like Frankenstein and smash stuff, or a vampire, I think is one of them that she does. She had a little mini series. It was pretty good too.
I just looked her up, and she looks like Hobgoblin, and I'm sold.
So cool. I love the look. The first image I saw of her was her like kind of like leaning over, like about to like leap off of a building, and it was a really cool pose.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she's great.
And what a great name for a character.
Yeah, Hallows Eve. It's great.
That's an awesome choice. I love it. I want her in the game now. Okay.
This has gone from a wish list to like, this is mandatory.
It's a demand list now.
A manifesto.
Should we have like a buzzer or something that we hit every time there's a crossover? Because I feel like we're going to start putting our finger on that buzzer real fast here.
So do we all jump up and down and scream when there's a crossover, or do we wait until we announce that there's like, how do you want us to do that? Because like I'm assuming there's one that I think we all know about, but like, do you want us to sort of jump in, or do you want us to like hold, like, do you want to see how good our poker faces are throughout the video?
You know what? That's a good call. Let's go with poker faces.
Okay.
All right.
Lady Gaga. All right.
So I was very close to picking Hallows Eve, but I kind of figured you would pick Hallows Eve. So I do have Prowler. However, it is not Miles's uncle. In the 616 universe, Hobart Brown is Prowler, villain, and then eventually becomes hero, and then eventually switches to his name to Hornet. But yeah, so Hobby Brown, aka Prowler, is my anti-hero.
I remember hearing a story about that, and like Hobby Brown's like early criminal career, he is like, I forget what he's doing, but he's there and he somehow ends up thinking he pushes Peter Parker out of a window, and he's like, oh my god, I just killed that man. It's like really messed up about it. But yeah. So he wasn't cut out for crime.
Definitely cut out for anti-hero though. Like the purple just it fits.
You don't even have to paint the mini. Just
yeah.
Oh man. Well, I think going back to some of your choices, guys. I think we should, like, for the thumbnail for this video, there should definitely be a goblin on it, because I think we should see how many references of goblins we can fit into each of these pockets as well, because there's been a lot so far. And actually, can I just take us on a brief side note, because my brain, I forget things, and I always mean to talk to you guys about different things, and then I forget. So this has got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But when you mentioned that awesome idea of the different masks, Dave, so I guess it does have something to do with what we're talking about. And like, obviously, how much fun that could be in the game, right? You could have like a Beast Boy type, card, like playing the different masks and that sort of thing. It made me think about discussion recently about some characters using an ability like Firestorm coming up in DC United, who's this character. I have no idea what these cards have to do with the name Firestorm and the fact that he's on fire, but his cards allow him to play his cards in the storyline, and then instead of having a special effect on the card, you have a little mini deck of cards that you put on top. You plug into the cards in the storyline to choose when you get the different special abilities throughout the game, sort of thing. So like, you play the card down and you go, you know what, this time I feel like I need ability to punch thugs or whatever. So you put that into the card and you get some ability to punch thugs. And then in the next card, you might put down an ability that changes your ability to do, I don't know, some rescuing or something like that. So that I wanted to say to Nelly, I expect to see All Might in his Iron Man suit, where he uses all the different powers of the kids in Class 1A and B and that. I want to see an Iron Man suit, All Might, that has the little cards that you plug in that reference all the different powers that he uses from all the kids. That'd be really cool. So that was my little thought. If I don't say this now, I'm going to forget to say it, and then we'll never get Super Iron Man All Might. that all came from just hearing about like the mask from Hallows Eve, but very cool. So apologies, folks, for that brief interlude. But let's get back to crossovers, because hit that alarm, buzz, buzz, buzz. We have a proper crossover. Uncle Ben specifically, Prowler, I think would be really cool. I really like that character, and I love the idea of the sound from the movies. Maybe I don't know if you guys have ever played that game. What's it called now? It's gone out of my head. It's a big game, Euro game with little minis that are the bad guys that go around the table, but they had ridiculous production value, and they plugged in little sound chips into the bases of the minis with little flick switches. So every time the monster like made an attack, you go click the switch and it would go rah, rah.
Wow.
So you could put a little sound base on Prowler and have that like creepy sound effect sort of thing when he goes around the board. But yeah, he was just such a cool character and such a cool reveal and everything. I thought he'd be really cool. And as with a lot of this list with heroes, villains, and anti-heroes, I don't really know what he would count as, but he seemed like he was kind of a good guy for part of that movie. So I think he'd be a cool candidate for anti-hero. So yeah, crossover, Uncle Ben, Prowler from the Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, he'd be awesome. So that's my pick. Took me a while to get there, but I got there. A few little tangents. So
You heard him, Simon. Sound bites. Sound bites. That'll lower production costs.
If anyone in the comments can remember what that game was called, if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, let us know.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and hi to Wen as well. So
hello.
I just remembered to turn on my comments, so sorry.
All right, those are some great anti-heroes. Well, guess what? I'm hitting the alarm because we have a third Prowler in the house.
So we all have Prowler on a list somewhere.
Yes.
He's hanging out. He's prowling.
I'm okay with Hobie Brown. I'm okay with Miles' uncle. Really, either or. They are both, as long as he's purple and he looks cool and he's got that swishy cape on the claws, I am 100% down. The fact that Prowler was not in the Spider-Geddon box is still baffling. Like, I love all the villains we got in that box, but the fact that he was not in there blows my mind. So get that man in this game.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is we need a box of Prowlers.
Yes.
Yes. And we
5 different Prowlers.
Enter the Prowlerverse.
Prowlerverse. I love it.
Just like we need a box of Havocs, we need a box of Prowlers.
Yes.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Can I also make a suggestion here too? When, if you're still in the chat as well, I don't know about you, Andrew, but maybe as we go through and do these, if folks are watching and they want to like pop in their choice for the the thing we're talking about at the time, that'd be cool. And that way we could have more likelihood of crossover too. That'd be fun.
Yes, that would be amazing. Put those pics in the comments, everybody. Especially if your name happens to be Andrea or Tiago and you want to put that would be great too, so we can know exactly what you're thinking at this point in time. Now I'm really curious because we were on our first support character, and I know that these are near and dear to Dave's heart ever since they got announced. So I have a feeling, sir, that you put some special TLC into picking your support characters. Am I wrong?
These were tough for me because some of these characters I've actually had discussions about, like, oh, that should be a support character, and it's like, no, I think you could make them a hero.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them were tough. For Spider-Man, I definitely avoided the most obvious one, mostly because I really like Mary Jane in the what's it called, Renew Your Vows, where she has spider powers that she kind of is like leeching off of Peter. So I think of Mary Jane as a hero more so than as a support character. So the first support character that I thought of, aside from her, was Captain Stacy. I like the idea of Gwen's dad being a support character as a cop. I thought that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a good one. You could team him up with Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Yes. Double supports. I love it. Actually, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anything in the rules that we've gotten that says you can't have 2 support characters.
I think they did say that you shouldn't do more than 2 supports.
Okay.
Okay.
So 2 is doable, which is a very cool concept for the future. All right. Good to know. Nice pick. Mele, what do you got?
So this is the top of my list. It's all going to be downhill after this. My support for the Spider-Man universe is Doc Ock's arms.
Oh, that's awesome!
That's great.
In the comics, Doc Ock gets like the entire Sinister Six gets captured, and Doc Ock's arms have like a piece of his conscience, like not a piece of his conscience, but like just residue from being attached to him for so long that they are effectively sentient. And they go out and basically find Spider-Man to ask him for help, and effectively just acts like a dog for the rest of it, to the point where he ends up like hanging out with JJ. Like there's shots of like Jameson like just in his house on a newspaper, and Doc Ock's arms are just like curled up in a corner sleeping.
Very cool.
Doc Ock's arms are my pick.
That is outstanding. And again, they're already great. You don't have to paint anything. Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Full marks for that. That's great.
Yeah. And speaking of JJ, we just saw Wen had JJ as their pick for the support as well. And we saw Lady. How do you pronounce that? Is it Nagant?
Nagant from
Nagant?
My Hero.
Oh, is that who? Because I was going to say
that's the elbow sniper lady.
Yeah, I was going to say the only Lady Nagant I know is from My Hero Academia.
So Wen's crossing over mega crossovers here. All right.
Yeah, awesome. That's the same one. So just on those Doc Ock arms, I'm picturing something similar to what you suggested, Andrew, a while ago, with that idea for like making any hero a villain by putting that like base on with the flames around them or whatever. You could have like a little base where you clip on and it has like the arms coming up around, so you could have like characters like with the arms, give any character the arms and stuff.
That's so cool.
But we've got another crossover, and this time it's crossover with the comments. That's right. It is J. Jonah Jameson. He's just too classic a character not to be in it. He's such an annoying jerk. I kind of picture him having, like, I'm not a big Spider-Man aficionado. I don't really follow the comics that well. So maybe he's a lot more supportive in different comic runs and stuff than I'm aware of. But he always just seems to be a jerk in the stuff that I've seen. So I could see him kind of being a bit of a jerk character. And I know that in Marvel Zombies, I always have a lot of fun because whenever he shows up as a bystander, I make it my goal to like ignore him the most possible so he gets eaten by zombies as fast as possible. I never rescue J. Jonah Jameson. He's always getting chased down the street. Yeah, so he I think you could do some fun stuff with what his effect would be, and I think you could have a fun model with his angry expression and his funny hair and stuff, and the paper as well. I don't know if I would want like a fun little etched sort of newspaper, like if he's holding a newspaper, that is, so that you could paint the thingy, or if they leave it as a flat sort of sheet so that painters could really go to town and actually freehand something. I don't know. It's like, you could do that for the painters, but then it's sort of, for someone who wants to paint but isn't like a real sort of super duper painter, like maybe that would be too much. Just leaving it blank and then expecting them to sort of, I don't know what I would want with that, but I think you could have a lot of fun with that model. I think that'd be awesome.
My mental picture of Jonah Jameson is not holding a newspaper, but he is tearing a newspaper.
Oh, that's an awesome idea.
Because he's saying, "Find me pictures of Spider-Man."
That's an awesome one. Yeah. Oh, now I wish that's what we got in Marvel Zombies, because I think he's just holding one or something, isn't he, in that one? But tearing would be cool, or like slamming a coffee cup down on the table.
Yes.
John Stewart smash.
Also, I mean, like, we all love Prowler, but if any one Marvel character deserves a little soundbite thing,
yes. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's a great pick. I almost had a crossover with you here. J. Jonah Jameson is one of my favorite Marvel characters, period. He was right there for me. But there's one more that just edged him out, because at the end of the day, the moments in any Spider-Man story ever where I am the most invested is anytime Aunt May is in danger. I cannot handle. I'm like, you better not hurt Aunt May, whoever flavor villain is here. So I gotta go with my heart. I gotta go with Aunt May, and I mean, it could be just something as simple as she's got her little tray of wheat cakes for you, just like Alfred, just helping you out because you're a growing boy and you need those wheat cakes. Yeah, I need to see Aunt May in this game, even though JJ is right up there. My auntie, my poor auntie.
Well, you know what? Like, Minis from Mars actually do now. This is probably a bit of a spoiler, but because I think this might be a little promo thing. Like, Minis from Mars make great little icons, little tokens, little figures to replace your civilians and thugs. And I think depending, like, if you make an order from there, sometimes they'll send you little kind of Easter egg characters and stuff that go along with that. And one of them is actually an Aunt May with like holding a little chicken, like a little fried chicken on a tray sort of thing. And I know that I always fight a lot harder to rescue civilians in that location if one of them is Aunt May. So I think that's a good point.
Yes. It would intensify every game for me if Aunt May is constantly in peril. I'd be like, nope. Wow. Okay. So our Spider-Man box is looking pretty solid.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful, beautiful box. But now we're moving on to the X people, the mutants. And this is where I think the fur is going to fly here, because I cannot fathom who you guys narrowed down. Oh, boy. All right, Dave, your blue mutant character is going to be...
So this was
Based.
an incredibly tough pick, but I think we actually talked about this on an earlier stream, because I think the rainbow translucent effects would be amazing for Sync, who like syncs up his aura with other characters to copy their powers. That would look sick, and I mean he's like a necessary character because he's like a Gen X like staple, but yeah.
Yeah, he'd be cool. Is he the one that's in? Oh no, I think I'm thinking of Darwin. I was going to say, is he the one that's in that First Class movie? But now
no. Yeah, Darwin can adapt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I never knew anything about Gen X. Like, you guys taught me about Gen X, and Dave, you're the one who showed me what Sync looks like. And as soon as you showed me, I'm like, okay, put him in the game. Right now, put him in the game. That's a great choice. Rainbow effects make it happen. All right, Nelly.
So I might have some crossover with somebody, but I'm picking armor. More specifically, however, I'm choosing the Ultimate Universe armor. I just love like the Peach Momo art style. But also I like the armor in that universe, like the actual like suit of armor, has like this samurai like style to its design that I just really like, especially done in that art style. So I am picking Hisoka from Earth 6160.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
That one is a different one. I can actually.
Yeah, the Peach Momoko. I think
There's one that's kind of spiky. I don't know if that's it, but that's
because she's a lot younger, I think, in that universe, right?
Yeah, like they're all pretty young in that one. But yeah, it's
Hello,
specifically
Alex.
Earth 6160 armor.
6160. Wow. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Wen said Jubilee Sun. Yeah. So Shogi ended up in Excalibur going into like the other world, and he turns into a dragon while he's in that.
Oh,
world. Amazing.
Sweet.
Because I was actually gonna ask about when, like Jubilee Sun, when that comment popped up, I was like, oh, does that mean Sync is Jubilee Sun? What's what's happening? I don't. You can tell I don't really know much about some of these non-92 X-Men characters. I'm like, is it from the old animated series? If not, I probably don't know them as much. Okay, that's cool. So we're doing heroes.
Yeah, we're on to your hero.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Armor is a great choice, and actually, that reminds me that I need to get some art from Erwin for the armor that we did was it a couple of years ago, or at least a year ago? Andrew, we did a version of armor. Like I think we sat together and like homebrewed it on screen, sort of thing. So we actually need to get that finished because I never finished building those cards because I wanted to get proper art for it, and then I never did. So that's a good choice. If I'd remembered armor, I might have been really torn between these two, but I had to go with one that I think finishes a team for me. I recently. yeah, Havoc, yeah. No, Havoc in his Genosha soldier uniform. We have to have that Havoc. No. This is Richter. I think for him, like we got so close to finishing the X-Force team from the period that I remember, that I had to go with Richter. And even though there's going to be a few characters, just spoiler alert, on this list that I know we've kind of already covered in the homebrew world, but like Hydroman and stuff. But I still think I would love to see these reach the vast majority of the gaming public out there, because not that many people probably see our little world. But I think Richter would be really cool. He was a lot of fun in that fight where the X-Men and X-Factor fought against X-Force and stuff. And he's got a cool sort of like dynamic with him and I think Shatterstar and him and Rain or Wolfsbane, and he's one of the original. I've got that soft spot for the old original X-Factor as well, when they were sort of like the old school X-Men guys, and they had that little team of runaway kids and stuff with them. And he was part of that. They rescued him from Cameron Hodge. So I think he'd be really cool. And we do have, look at this, plug. We actually have a Richter model, and I've just recently put up a set of cards for him on the wiki. So if you do like Richter, you actually can get a homebrew model and deck of cards for him. So,
Perfect.
but yeah, he'd be a lot of fun, I think. And earthquake effects and stuff are always fun, and it's a way to sort of, because we've got Quake, I think, has earthquake effects. But it's also a fun way to sort of like have a character with maybe a different take on how earthquakes work and stuff. So, yep, Richter, he's cool.
And he is in demand. His name came up a lot in all those comment sections on Multiverse.
Yeah.
He was big.
He'd be one that would provide some marketability, hopefully, sort of thing. So, Storm and Black Panther. Ooh, very cool.
All right, so my hero, not the most exciting choice, I would imagine. At least for me, it's exciting, just because, again, I go to the cartoons first. and I'm going to try to say this as correctly as possible because it is a tongue twister. Bishop's sister Shard.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
I gotta have Shard because she was such a big part of that cartoon.
Yeah.
And just like whenever she was around, I'm just like, oh, cool, we have another mutant that you don't see too often. But I like when that happens. Like when we have these other second string mutants coming in and joining the fray. So I want Shard on the team. Team her up with her brother.
Yeah.
was she in the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she showed up in, I think, when they had to go back in time to stop Professor X from getting killed. She was there with
Yeah.
the group.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
All right, and now it's villain time, ex-villain time, and this, I think, this might have been the toughest choice. I don't know, probably between this and Hero for you guys because I know there's a lot to draw from here. So, Dave, your red mutant world character, who's it going to be?
So it's kind of funny because I actually kind of hate this character because it's kind of like a character assassination, but I also really enjoyed elements of this character in the comics, and that is Moira 10. So this is Moira from the Krakoan era, and she is like I don't know if it's actually considered Moira 10 or Moira 11. She basically, this is like such a actually I don't want to spoil anything about House of X, but read House of X. Absolutely, that comic is amazing. And then this kind of iteration of Moira as a villain shows up in Lives and Deaths of Wolverine, I think. And she is great because she knows stuff and she's terrifying. And yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
I would say more, but I really don't want to spoil that. Everyone should read that comic.
Yeah.
House of X, Hours of X. What is it called? Inferno, which is a dumb name because there's already been an X-Men Inferno, the Krakoan Inferno, and then Lives and Deaths of Wolverine.
Yeah. Good pick for like what that opens up for a really interesting way to how do you capture that in the rules, how do you capture that in the game? And I reckon that could be a really interesting villain fight, quite a different one. So yeah, awesome.
Very cool. Love it. All right, Nelly.
So my villain, assuming I pronounce this correctly, Azazel, Nightcrawler's father.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Great.
That is my choice. I just really like the like red Nightcrawler-ish looking design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any excuse to have a red villain, it just feels right with the minis, right? It just feels it fits. Azazel, that's a great pick. And like giving him a lot of the same mechanics as Nightcrawler, but just turning it against the heroes. Sweet.
Yeah.
Meeple Monkey, what do you got?
So, well, I've got, again, going back to sort of like my love of that original X Factor time and that sort of thing, and another character that we have already sort of worked on, but I couldn't go past, if I could only get one more X-Men villain, I'd love to see Cameron Hodge. But I really don't mind whether it's, the Cameron Hodge, working behind the scenes to sort of undermine the team. Sorry, spoilers if that's, if you haven't read that stuff. Or the much more horrifying, big bad where he's kind of like all melded in with the machine type thing in Genosha, and I think he's part of that Phalanx series as well. Any of that sort of iteration, I think that would probably be the more fun model and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, anything with Cameron Hodge, I think it'd be fun because he's that real militaristic, real hatred, xenophobic sort of thing of mutants and things, which is an unfortunate. It's not a nice thing, but it's like a big theme with the whole thing of mutants and things like that. So I think having a villain representing that and getting to fight against that would be a lot of fun. So Cameron Hodge, classic villain for the X-Men, I think. So I'd like to see him.
There was a fun Cameron Hodge bit kind of recently in the comics, and Cameron Hodge shows up and he's ordering around these like robotic soldiers, and they end up like kind of like dealing with Cameron Hodge because they point out like you're dead. You're not actually Cameron Hodge. You're just like a sentinel that thinks it's Cameron Hodge, and all the other ones just like stop listening to him. It's great.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And when your homebrew was being made, I just remember the smirk you drew on Cameron Hodge on every single one of his cards. And that's all I think of every time I hear the name now. So I went, yeah, he's fun. He's a great character. I went with just a classic oldie but a goodie. Again, another cartoon character that is missing from my table. And let's get a nice big chunky master mold on that table already.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even a huge fan of the Sentinels. Like when they pop up and anything, I'm like, okay, I'm sure. But he would be fun, and it would be a good excuse to use the Sentinels again in new context. So I'm all for that. Let's get master mold in there. Yeah, Apocalypse and Four Horsemen already in there. It's although it's hard to find that expansion, so sure, if they want to reprint it, I'm not going to stop them. All right, I believe it's AntiHero time. What do you got, Dave?
So I've actually kind of worked on this character a little bit, but I haven't done a whole lot with her, and that is Destiny.
Yeah.
So Destiny is a precog, right? So she can see the future. So one of the mechanics I thought was fun with that, and kind of plays into what happens towards the end of the Krakoan era, is they kind of give a reason why she has to be kind of cryptic in things that she gives information-wise, because basically there's something out there that's watching her, and if she gives away too much information, then like it'll come kill her, basically. So cool. I like the idea that like you can basically know what's in everybody's deck, like what's coming, but you have to be cryptic about the way that you handle that information, or you get punished.
Yeah.
So I like that as hero Destiny, and then I don't have a view of how she plays villain, but it would definitely be a tough win. She knows what you're gonna do.
And a cool looking character too.
Yeah,
just a sleek looking outfit. Wow. Okay, Destiny. I like it. And there's already artwork because she was a henchman for somebody.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, we're halfway there.
Yeah. So Simon, you don't have to invest that much. You don't have to go out and get the art. We've already got the
All right, Nelly, what purple person are you bringing to the board here?
I'm gonna butcher this last name, but Abigail Fanriagexis, also known as Abigail Brand. She's a half alien, half mutant. She's an agent of S.W.O.R.D. and a frequent begrudging ally of the X-Men, but she's also been part of like several like anti-mutant crusades, despite being half human mutant herself.
I didn't know she was a mutant. That's awesome.
Yeah, her code name is Brand because she can. Essentially, she can heat up her body to the point where, like, she can even like ignite people just by touching them because of how high she can raise her body's temperature.
Oh, cool!
I think Brand is also the one who killed off Henry Gyrick in the most recent incarnation of him.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's really cool because you've just filled in a gap of knowledge for me because in Marvel Zombies, I'm pretty sure she's a bystander in that game. And so she has this interesting model and stuff. She looks kind of like a fighter. I think she has a gun and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know who this character is. She's got a cool sounding name sort of thing, and she's got a cool model, but I had no idea who she was. So now I know. So now I think she might be one of those ones that can fight off the zombies. Like, if you roll a 5 or a 6, you can fight them off. So now I can picture what she's doing. She's either, setting them on fire or she's blasting them with the gun. So that's cool. Oh, excellent. There you go. Abigail.
He feels like a Mr. Sinister type. She could definitely be playing with you and then win at the end of the game.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah,
nice pick. All right, Mele Monkey.
All right. Well, sticking with my, stuff from the past and the old X Factor stuff. This is one I thought, as a anti-hero, someone who's worked with the heroes and worked against them back and forth, and is an interesting character. is Caliban. I really like the character of Caliban. I think if memory serves correct, his power, Dave, you might be able to clarify this. His power is something to do with he can sense when other mutants are present or something like that. Is that correct?
He can find them. He's like a tracker.
He can find them. He's like a tracker. So I don't know. I don't know what I would do with that or how interesting that could be game-wise in terms of a hero or a villain sort of thing. So I don't know. He doesn't have the most splashy sort of power, but certainly, with some clever sort of coming up with some ways of integrating that, I think it could be an interesting power. And I just liked his sort of thing. He's kind of down on himself, and he sort of tries to help the heroes, but he kind of fails. So he tries to seek power, and then that sort of leads him down the path to becoming a bad guy, and back and forth. And I think he's sort of involved with Apocalypse as he becomes like one of the henchmen, one of the horsemen for a time and stuff. So I think he'd be cool. That we've got art for him as a henchman in one of the things, and there's a Patreon out there that's already done a model for him now as well. So he sort of exists out there. He's one of those characters that we kind of already have him in the homebrew world, but I think again I'd like to see the official version of him.
I'd like to see him also as the smaller version, the non Horseman of Apocalypse,
non beefed up, and that's So and that kind of suits that bit where he's kind of trying to help them out, sort of thing. So he might be another candidate for a whole box of Calibans. I think if the marketability wise, I think that's probably the surefire bet. I think we could see a lot of people wanting to buy this really Z-list character. But a box of Calibans I think is a good investment on Simon's part.
The Calibox on sale now.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, I am going to join the we already have art for it in the game party with my choice. And I'm also taking a page out of Nellie's book here because I'm going with Goblin Queen / Madeline Pryor as my anti-hero.
I can't believe none of us said that already. And B, I'm very impressed you managed to get Goblin into the X-Men pocket as well.
You're welcome. Yeah, she's somebody I didn't really know anything about until United, and I kept hearing about her. I'm like, who's this Goblin Queen? At first I thought it was some kind of Osborn offshoot, and then people told me, no, she's Jean Grey's clone, whatever. And then X-Men 97 spelled that out for me nice and clear. So yeah, get her in the game. She can play both sides. You can have a lot of fun with her. Even though we got a ton of Jean Greys, I'd be down for this.
Yeah, totally.
All right, support time.
There was a Patreon that did a Black Queen sculpt, and I will probably use that to model for a Madeline Pryor. Because I mean, it's Jean,
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Yeah. Who's your support, Dave?
Okay. So this is actually one I debated on trying to figure out a way to put this into my Age of Apocalypse campaign. But this is, I've seen more and more things about her lately, which has been fun. She is the rock star across the universe. This is Lila Cheney.
Yeah. Nice.
Who is it?
Lila Cheney. So she can her mutant power is that she can like teleport, but like galactic distances. So she goes to like a base that she has, and then can teleport from there back to Earth. So she can like bounce around the planet by doing a double teleport kind of thing.
That's cool.
But she's also like a universe famous musician. Like aliens have concerts where she like plays at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does she have like a guitar with her the whole time?
I don't know. I usually picture her just like with a mic.
Yeah.
But like all the X-Men characters, like there was a really cute scene in the Uncanny SpiderMan, which was when Nightcrawler took over as Spider-Man for a little while. And he and Silver Sable were like singing the lyrics to a Lila Cheney song at each other because like everyone knows her music.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was on stage when Professor X, I think I'm getting this right, when Professor X was shot in the Executioner song
Oh yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
thingy, that's where he was. He was up on stage, and the sniper shot him on stage at a Lila Cheney concert. So that's my knowledge of it, because yeah, I'm like, I know that reference.
That's a cool pick. I like that. All right, nice outside the box character.
Yeah, good
Nelly.
choice.
So this one could probably function as like a pet companion or a support, but I'm going with Jonathan the Unstoppable, who is a literal Wolverine that Squirrel Girl rescues from like a lab that was experimenting on him, and Squirrel Girl brings him to Gabby, thinking that Gabby can talk to Wolverines the way Squirrel Girl can talk to squirrels, and Gabby ends up like falling in love with Jonathan. They adopt him. Rocket makes him like a collar so he can speak English.
That's cool.
This is great.
Yeah, I like that pick. Well, I've got my first cheat. I've got my first case of cheating here. The first is I'm going to mention a character that missed out, so I can still squeak her into the video, and then I'm going to talk about my actual choice. So I was very close to going with Val Cooper. I think she'd be really cool as a support character. I really like her. She kind of like helps run the X Factor in like the like Havoc era and that sort of stuff as well. But I thought these guys would be more fun. So she missed out, but I'm going to go with, again, with my era of like the old X Factor days. And my cheat is that I'm naming two characters here because I see them as being like a support character choice where they come as a duo. I remember my very first pet companion type character that I made in the homebrew world was actually two characters, Johnny and Yusuko from One Piece, the two brothers who are like fans of Zoro's and old partners of his. And I thought it'd be fun to have like pet companions that you can have a couple of them and move them around the board so you've got more board presence. And I think you could do something similar with this, and that is Leech and Artie, the two kids that follow X Factor around in the day. And I think both of them have fun powers that you could have fun in a support thing. And it's actually, you know how I've talked about in the past, I'm like support, I don't know if I'm really like that excited about this sort of stuff, because I know that like as much as I was excited originally about companions and that sort of stuff, it's kind of like I don't necessarily always enjoy. I tend to forget that they're there when I'm using them, and I never remember to move them around the board. So I feel like maybe these guys would actually be better as a support. I think that they'd suit that role better, rather than a full-fledged hero as well, although the case could be made, especially for Leech. You could probably do a hero with him anyway, but Leech can turn off mutant powers, so that'd be a really cool thing, flipping characters' cards over, or like cancelling the special effects of villains or something in his location or whatever it might be. You could do something fun with that. And then Artie has this ability where he can kind of like I don't know if he sees into the future, but he can kind of like project. He can actually project like an image in the real world of what he's picturing in his mind, sort of thing, like telepathically. So like he can see someone breaking into somewhere, and then he can send that vision to like the hero, showing them what's happening or something like that. Like I forget exactly how it works, but he can basically like reveal the enemy's plans or what they're doing and stuff like that. So I think both of those could have a fun in-game effect for a support character type thing, where you could sort of assist the allies with that. And if you had them as little characters that could move around, you could have board state presence, and you could maybe choose to sort of fire off one of their powers each turn or something like that. I don't know.
So but, I think Artie would be also good as a hero, and the rule would be that you can't talk, but you can draw pictures.
That's right, because he's mute, isn't he? Yeah, I forgot that he's mute. Yeah. Oh, how good would that? Have a card, dry erase card, and you've got to draw it on the card. Oh, that'd be cool. Yes. That's great. Make it happen, Simon. Yeah, that's very cool.
Pictionary United. I am on board for anything that gets Leech into this game, because Leech he's a big deal.
Oh, I like that too. That was good. That was a good pun. That was good. Yeah. Nice. So there you go. That's my pick. Artie and Leech, the little duo, a little team.
Artie and Leech, nice. I've got kind of a crossover buzzer question mark. I have no idea what she would bring to the table, but I just think it's too iconic of a character to leave out. We need Moira McTaggart.
Oh, absolutely.
As support.
Yeah.
Just give her a little clipboard, a little Scottish accent, and we're good to go. That's it.
And you have to include Muir Island Institute as her starting location.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, Mr. Creed. Welcome. Mr. Creed, you're just in time for us to move into the Fantastic Four pockets. This was, I don't know if you guys agree, this was the hardest one for me to plumb its depths because there was slim pickings. So we might have the most crossover or we might have the least crossover depending on how far we delve here. Dave, I
actually had a really hard time with these because a while ago I started trying to make a campaign for Galactus, and I was like, okay, let me go through the early Fantastic Four stuff, and I learned a ton about them. So this is actually I ended up narrowing things down pretty well, but yeah, there were a lot of good choices, I thought, for Fantastic Four villains and stuff. Okay, so my first one, and this was one that I had talked to someone and they were like, that's a support character. I'm like, I don't know. So this is Alicia Masters, the blind daughter of the Puppet Master. So what I really like the idea of this is that she doesn't actually have powers, but neither does the Puppet Master. All of the magic comes from the clay. So she would have equipment cards that are quite good that would have magical clay things, but like that's all of her powers.
That's great.
Very
I like
cool.
that. And she was a big part of the cartoon. So like she's not a small fry either. She's a big name.
Because the thing is, I was like, I have to make her in order to tell the story of Galactus because she's the one who talks Silver Surfer down.
That's
okay. Yeah. Very cool.
She's the one who convinced him that like humanity is like worth something. So it's like she's a big deal. But also, I saw a really cool panel that was dark. So like this is a weird bit, but there's a part in the comics where there's a Skrull, and she makes herself look like Alicia Masters and marries the Human Torch. I can't remember her name, but like she came in there and Alicia hates her, obviously, for this, like taking her identity and all this stuff and fucking things up with her and Ben Grimm for a while. But so there's a scene where that Skrull woman is on Earth and she walks up to Johnny Storm and like explains how like, yeah, you know, it's a shame, but things won't work between us. And like, I just need to never be here, never be around you again. And then she walks away. And then you see Alicia Masters finishing with a clay piece, and she's puppeting. She's talking the words that the Skrull woman is saying to make her leave the planet. And it's like, ooh, that's so cool. Like villainous, but also reasonable because
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I like that. Alicia Masters. Yes, I'm in 100%. Nelly, who's your hero?
So mine is Sharon Ventura, who was a Miss Marvel, and during a flight with the Thing, their ship got hit, or a space flight with the Thing, their ship got hit with cosmic rays, which is common for the Fantastic Four, turning her into She-Thing.
Oh,
nice. I didn't know that was. Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
She could have She-Thing and She-Hulk team up together.
Yes.
Cool. And then
she has fought She-Hulk, although that was before she mutated.
Of course.
That was back when she was just Miss Marvel, I believe.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
She-Thing, 100%. Yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, guys. I have to. I'm going to make this really suspenseful. Before I reveal my choice, I have to quickly jump up, and I'll be back in, let's say, 30 seconds, unless I trip down the stairs, in which case call an ambulance. But so enjoy looking at my bed in the meantime, but I'll be right back, okay?
Maybe Dan, give yourself a whole minute and don't run.
No. It'll be fine. I'll be right back. All right, hold on. Drum roll.
Okay, we can all guess what he's gonna pick. Oh, this is Fantastic Four. See, I didn't know She Thing was a thing. Wow. Okay. I see so far, without spoiling anything, no crossovers yet. And in Fantastic Four, I was afraid we were going to get crossover city because I was like, oh, we're all going to pick the same people. But so far, so good. I like this.
Aha. Back. All right. Hello, guys. All right. Sorry about that.
Did you trip?
No, I didn't trip.
Beautiful.
I made it. The gout has gone down. I'm all good. Yes, heroes from the Fantastic Four world. Now, this was probably the hardest world for me. I was like, mate, Fantastic Four is not a pocket that I've followed very much at all or have much interest in previous to this. However, they're an amazing team in the game. I really enjoy playing them. They're so much fun. Their models are all cool. The villains in that box are amazing. So I quite like them, but I still hadn't really ever. Sorry guys, I'm out of breath now. But I still I can't even run 30 seconds. Still hadn't had much knowledge with them. So I really had to do some guy in the chair Google searching here to back up my my choices here. But the first choice though is one that it's not a tenuous link. It's actually a really strong pick because I know that this character is in at least one comic that features the Fantastic Four, and that's going to be. And the reason I had to run downstairs is I have a model. I forgot to go get this one when I was grabbing all the other models. But this is a kangaroo, and he's part of Brute Force because we can't have a team. We can't have a video without discussing Brute Force on the wish list. So this is, in some cases, Hip Hop, and in other cases, Boomer. He's actually gone by, or he or she. I think he's actually been a boy and a girl, depending on which comic series you're reading. And sometimes he's called Hip Hop, sometimes Boomer. I think in this one he's called Boomer. But the Brute Force were featured in a comic. Brute Force comic where, sorry, I shouldn't say Brute Force were featured. The Fantastic Four were featured in a Brute Force comic where the Brute Force team, a couple of them had to infiltrate the Fantastic Four building to get some intel or something like that on a mission they were doing. So they weren't trying to fight against the Fantastic Four, but they had to kind of break in and do it because they're like the government were painting them as bad guys or something. So they sort of like were on the run. And they dressed up. So Boomer, and was it the bear? The Boomer and the Bear Reckless, they dressed up in like trench coats and stuff. So I think the bear had a big trench coat and a hat, dressed up to pretend to be the Thing, and then Boomer dressed up with like a wig and like sunglasses and stuff and pretended to be Sue Storm and like a dress and stuff. And they got it. They walked into the building, got in the lift with Johnny Storm, happened to show up at the time they were getting in the lift, jumped in, and then he said hi to them and they were like, hello. And then they got out of the lift and kept walking. And then the actual Thing showed up and like, who are those guys? And he's like, oh, I thought they were you. And so like, the Thing was like, when they got revealed that it was like a bear and a kangaroo in costume, the Thing was like, did you think I was a bear in a trench coat? And Johnny Storm was like, no. And then they like bust out of the building, they jump out and they escape, whatever. But that's one of my favorite moments ever, that like this kangaroo and a bear just dressed up in human clothes and Johnny Storm didn't even know like that was them sort of thing. He thought it was his actual friends that he spends the entire comic series with. So that's my choice. It got nothing to do with Fantastic Four, really, but I had to get Boomer in somehow.
It's beautiful. And it gets the Brute Force in there.
It gets Brute Force in there, and it talks about a fantastic moment in Fantastic Four lore that readers of the regular Fantastic Four comics might not know. So now they can go and seek out the Brute Force. It was like a Brute Force limited run or something like that. It was on that Unlimited, Marvel Unlimited or whatever, that app sort of thing. So yeah, check it out. It was really cool. So
That's
go.
awesome.
Boomer, that's my choice.
So I feel like I should turn in my author card here because you guys are so much more creative than I am with your hero picks.
Creative or like really taking liberties?
A little of both. I thought for sure we were all going to pick the same person. And I just went just as plain and simple as possible because he was the only one I thought of and the only one that I thought I would still like to see, and that's Psylord. There, Reed and Sue's son, Psylord, who becomes, I think, some super powerful cosmic god or something. He makes friends with Galactus at some point. He's their kid, and I don't know much else about him other than that he becomes really. I don't even know what his first name is. Franklin Richards, I think. Franklin Richards. Yeah. So Psylord, PSI Lord. I think there's a hyphen in there too. But yeah, he's my hero pick. Definitely just pretty much out of process of elimination than anything else because I couldn't think of those great ones that you guys had there. If I knew She-Thing was a thing, I would have gone with She-Thing. All right. Villain time.
Okay, well, mine was a natural progression from Alicia Masters, and this is the Puppet Master.
Classic.
Yeah,
great classic choice.
Oh no, I think I'm thinking of Toy Maker. I was going to say, did we see a Puppet Master toy in the homebrew world? But maybe I'm thinking of Toy Maker. I think. Yeah, Puppet Master. Okay.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with that guy.
Does he have like a little, does he have like little puppets on strings or things, or what? Like, what does he do?
So I think that's like on the cover art of the comic. But I usually just think of him as just like holding little dolls and like making them kiss or something. I don't know what he actually said. He just makes them out of play.
The deadliest of villains.
Or whatever.
That's cool. Awesome.
All right, Nelly.
So I have Julius, aka the Mad Thinker. He, when I was looking up all like the Fantastic Four villains, he caught my attention because he's effectively he has like two powers. He has like a computer link power where he surgically implanted like a radio that lets him manually or mentally control his like entire facility, where he like builds robots and androids and stuff like that. But then he's also like a master at like probability, where he can just whenever he's looking at things, he can see how likely something is to happen. And the first time he went up against the Fantastic Four, he figured that they would be the only ones capable of stopping him. So he just kind of subtly manipulated events to make them disband. Like events played out, so like the Thing became a pro wrestler, Invisible Girl went to like be an actor or an actress, Human Torch went to like help his cousin in a circus. And like the one like comic panel that always makes me laugh when I was looking at this guy was like, I guess he was fighting, like I think it was like he was fighting Daredevil, and he was just like he just looks at Daredevil, and from his vision it just looks like a computer board with like that meme of like the woman with all like the equations, and it's just like he's left-handed, master of judo, boxing, and Aki Jiu-Jitsu, 202 pounds, 6 foot, likelihood of a lunging tackle 44%, upper body attack 23%, leg sweep 19%, belly club throw 12%, chance of victory 0.
That's awesome.
That's cool. That'd be a cool like little panel on the art of the card sort of thing, you know, having like, come up. Very cool.
Nice pick.
Yeah. Well, this isn't another cheating one I had. So this is villains, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And so I had contingencies in case you guys, I wasn't sure when I wrote this one, like whether we were how strict you guys are going to be and let me cheat or not. So I've got one character that if I was forced to name one, I would pick one character out of this group. But really the reason I've gone with them is I see them as like a team villain battle, you know, like a brotherhood of mutants or something like that. So I think, you know, in terms of one villain fight, we're good. And so that's what I've picked. And that is, it sounds like a classic sounding name, you can tell that I have no idea who these guys are. I just did some Googling and came across like fun names. And that was the Frightful Four. They sound really fun. And, you know, if we got the Fantastic Four fighting the Frightful Four, that just sounds like a fun team battle. And if I had to pick one character, it would definitely be this character called Paste Pot Pete, because no way Paste Pot Pete. I mean, put him in a team battle with Condiment King, and you're gold. So that's really cool. He does actually have another official name called the Trapster, but like, why would you call him the Trapster when you could call him Paste Pot Pete? So that just sounds like a lot of fun. And then of course there's characters like the Wizard, and then I think. It says Sandman. Is this the same Sandman from the Sinister Six?
Mhm.
It's got Sandman and then Medusa, who apparently has amnesia, and I don't know if they mean like actual Greek mythology Medusa or some other character that I'm supposed to know who's named Medusa. But anyway, apparently the first four original. This is a pick it's true to my heart, and I really know a lot about them. But yeah, Medusa, Sandman, Wizard, and Trapster. Although looking this up as well, like if your flavor is like you like different eras of the Frightful Four, it looks like there's actually been quite a lot of characters on the roster, including I think Hydroman as well. So that'd be an interesting team with Hydroman and Sandman in the same team, because isn't like water something that Sandman doesn't like being around? So
Right.
those two would really have to like stay on opposite ends of the board, otherwise they'd be messing each other up. So, yeah, you know, Paste Pot Pete. That's my pick. So.
Well, I'm definitely not going to hold that little cheat against you, sir, because we got a crossover. Kind of. We got it. This is where I cheated too, because I picked the Wizard, and for no other reason. Like I could take or leave the Wizard, but I picked him because he always seems to be the one leading the Frightful Four. And if that means we get a Frightful Four, then the chances that we get a Hydroman become very, very likely, which is why I didn't pick him for SpiderMan. So it comes back to, give me Wizard, Hydroman, Paste Pot Pete, and Medusa. Yes, I am in. I am so in. I love all of that. I agree. I will never call him Trapster as long as Paste Pot Pete is a name that exists. That's just it's so great. And that was my introduction to Medusa, is as a brainwashed character, and then I found out she's actually a nice person. But Wizard is the least interesting character on that team for me, but he gets me that much closer to Hydroman, so I'm going with him.
It's a means to an end.
Is he any good at pinball, like a pinball wizard?
I wish. I think he just makes stuff. I think he's like the Tinkerer, but with a big hat.
Okay. Yeah.
So nothing too creative there. All right. It's purple time. This was tricky. Dave, what do you got?
So originally I actually had the Frightful Four.
Yes.
Medusa is a hero.
Yeah.
But,
so it's Medusa. Sorry, Dave. So it's Medusa from. I totally forgot that this even existed. The Inhumans. So that's who it is. Is it the one with the big hair? Okay, cool. Because I agree with when when I was thinking about it, I thought, I guess there's like Hercules and these. So I was thinking, it's reasonable that it would be actual Medusa. But okay, all good. So cool. Right.
But so this then becomes my avenue to throw in another pocket of the Marvel Universe that we can play with, and that is Cersei from the Eternals. At her interactions with the Fantastic Four as well. But it's funny because she's like often been a heroic character, but like I think she's a bad guy.
Okay. Yeah, because the Inhumans seem like they're at least from that movie, it seems like their whole premise is that a lot of the time they could actually be doing a lot of bad stuff, right? Yeah. So
this is from the what is it? The Only Death is Eternal storyline. And they end up revealing the big dark secret of the Eternals in that, which spoiler, but this comic's decently old now, so. Basically, the way the Eternals work is that if they die, they just come back to life, right? They just wake up in their bodies inside the center of the planet. And And what they find out over the course of that comic is that the way that the machine that is called Earth does this is it kills a random human every time they die in order to power the recreation process. So a lot of the Inhuman or the Eternals didn't know this, right? And so they're like really screwed up by it. But Cersei knew the whole time. She knew. So it's like she's kind of a bad person.
Yeah. I think I remember you telling us about that. That's how they worked. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That sounds. I mean, she's had to make some choices, I guess. So.
Yeah.
So every time she's KO'd, you KO another hero instead.
Yeah.
You lose a civilian from the rescue.
Lose a civ. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
That's great. Good call. Yeah, I forgot that the FF encounters the Eternals quite a bit, so that's a beautiful way to bring them into the mix.
Yeah.
I like that better than my choice.
Hey, look, if you can bring Brute Force into the Fantastic Four, we can certainly bring Eternals.
Well, what we should do, if we're going to bring Brute Force, we have to bring their rivals. You remember the name of their rivals? Okay.
Secret.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Nelly.
So my purple is Impossible Man.
Ooh, yeah.
Who is this alien who is effectively just really bored and shows up to Earth and has like the ability to rearrange his molecules. He can turn into whatever he wants. And he's just like living it up in New York, bothering everybody, bothering the Fantastic Four. He's he's broken the fourth wall several times. Like he's invaded Marvel Comics and like demanded that Stan Lee make a comic of him. He's been in DC. Like he's met with I forget what is it, like Mr. Mixel, like I don't know.
Oh yeah,
like MXYZ something like he's
They
met
would
with
totally
that
get
guy.
along.
Yeah, no, they did. In fact, there was in one of the Superman comics, Mixel's comments that he's been having fun with his new fantastic friend in another universe.
Wicked.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I saw Mixel mentioned in a TV show the other day, like some characters like a kid character referenced that character or something like that.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, oh, Andrew.
I love that little dude.
Yeah.
James Gunn is putting him in a movie. Mark my words. It'll happen. That's a great pick. Impossible Man. Yeah, I like it.
Right. I like this. Like I've never heard of that character, but I like the name sounds cool. Impossible Man. Speaking of the name sounding cool, is the reason I've picked this character is Dragon Man. Because that just sounds like a cool sounding name. Because we're doing purple here, right? Anti-heroes? Yeah, Dragon Man. So now the only thing here is that I sort of, at this point in the Fantastic Four research, I was just looking for interesting characters, and I forgot about checking whether this was an anti-hero or not. So I think this might just be a villain. But let's just say that all villains are the heroes of their own stories. And so I'm sure the Dragon Man could justify his placement on the purple team as well. But apparently Dragon Man's actually some sort of a synthetic being, like not like maybe an android or something like that, but also is a dragon or something. But just sounded cool. Sounds like a opportunity for a cool model, big winged Dragon Man, alongside Sauron or whatever, the big pterodactyl looking guy and stuff. I think you could have a similar looking cool sort of model there. So and if it's an anti-hero, then you could have the two battling it out, having a dogfight in the skies, flying around and stuff. So Dragon Man. Don't ask me anything about him because I don't. But I know a dragon would sell boxes. So yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
My anti-hero is also completely at the mercy of what my Google search gave me. And I need to preface it just by saying I think this is an anti-hero too. Who knows? And that's Molecule Man.
Okay.
Only because all my searches that I looked, Marvel.com and Marvel Wiki and this and that, it never full out said he was a villain only. It was kind of a little bit shady about where his allegiances were. I think there was something I read about him trying to go straight at one point. So I was like, okay, that's good enough for me. Let's go with Molecule Man. And I think he wears purple and green, so fits the purple theme too. Why not?
Perfect.
All right. And now it's, dare I say, crossover time again, because we have some support in our midst. And did we all drink from the same well here? What do we got?
Well, I've just thought of one that I think I know. Well, I think I know what you're talking about, and I really should have put this one down because this character that I've picked really doesn't suit the support character thing at all. But I would like to say it's crossover, so we'll get to that in a bit. But I think I've got crossover, but I don't think it's the same thing you guys are thinking about.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway,
so
Dave.
my pick is actually a character. I think she's involved in maybe the first appearance of the Frightful Four.
Oh.
So this is the Fantastic Four hired a babysitter for their Franklin Richards, and this is old Agatha Harkness. She basically single-handedly takes care of the Frightful Four. But I think it's done in a way that it's like coy. Like, did she really do anything, or did they happen into these accidents or whatever?
Was it like Home Alone?
I feel like she made some of them fall down the stairs. But it's she didn't overpower them. It's just her little trickery stuff.
That's any Agatha is good Agatha. Yes. All right, Nelly.
The highly engineered robot built for interdimensional exploration, aka Herbie.
Awesome. That's the one I was thinking you were going to say the robot. Because yeah. I just remembered they had a robot, and now I'm like, I should have put that as my support.
It
should be Herbie
in the first one.
Yeah.
I blame Marvel Rivals because Herbie's in on one of the payload maps.
Okay.
Nice.
So it was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah. Is Herbie in the? Have we seen that in the trailers for the new movie?
Yeah.
We have. Okay, that's probably where it came into my mind that that's a thing. Yeah. Because I didn't know they had that. Kind of reminds me of the Paw Patrol robot or the PJ Masks robot. Actually, did you guys ever have a show called Perfect Match, like a game show, either in Canada or in the States? So we had this show called Brief Aside. Here we go. All right, folks, pull up a chair. We're going to talk about some classic 80s Australian game shows. So this show was called Perfect Match, and it was like a dating show, right? So you'd have usually I think they swapped it back and forth, but a girl or a guy would come out and they'd sit on one side of a screen, and then there'd be three suitors, three possible matches that would come out and sit on these stools, and the person, without seeing them, would be asking them questions. And so you might have had a variation of this show or something, right? This dating show sort of thing. And then at the end of the show they'd have to pick. But one of the gimmicks on the show was they had this robot called Dexter the Love Robot or something like that, and he was this little robot that would come out with a little face on the screen sort of thing. And I think their little gimmick thing was he would read out the supposed love match statistics or whatever that each character would have. That's at least my memory of what I remember seeing on the show sort of thing. But I know there was definitely a robot called Dexter the Love Robot. And so when I'm picturing this the Fantastic Four robot, that's what I'm picturing. Comes out and gives the statistical thing of the love match between Reed and Sue or whatever. So
wow, the North American version sucks now that I know there was one with Dexter the Love Robot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Any Aussies in the chat, let us know if I'm just making this up from made up memories, or was this actually a thing? I'm pretty sure it was.
The Dan's pick is Dexter the Love Robot.
Dexter. Well, no, it's not actually. I thought that would be when you mentioned that, Andrew. I thought, it's going to be the robot. Of course, I should have put the robot. But I actually wrote, and this is what I wrote in my book. Here's the crossover. I couldn't remember the name of this character. This is how scraping the bottom of the barrel, I was going for Fantastic Four. We're not doing a good job of selling season 4, by the way, saying like we couldn't think of any characters. But I wrote Child Richards because I knew they had a kid and the kid was important, but I didn't know the name of it, so I just wrote Child Richards. So now I know I'm going to update my list here. Franklin Richards.
That sounds like a celebrity kid name. Like Kanye would have a kid named Child Richards.
Well, I feel like that Kanye or maybe Musk would have a child called Psylord. Like, what is that? What is that edgelord name? Like Psylord. All right. Anyway, yeah, I think Child Richards is better than Psylord anyway, just quietly. But yeah, but I'm realizing that I think this is way more of an important character. It should be its own hero rather than a support character. I don't think it really fits in that one, but I was just looking for something to chuck in that category so there you go. Child Richards is my
Child Richards.
Boo, 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 boo. We've got a crossover.
And we got another one, boom, because I got Herbie too. I couldn't leave my pal Herbie behind, and that's a miniature that I'm dreaming about, and I can feel it. It's just out of reach. That little chibi Herbie miniature is coming. All right, it is now Iron Man time. Now this was a tricky one too, and I'm curious what you guys came up with here. Dave, your Iron Man hero. Who you going?
I am surprised no one said the Fantastic Car.
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
Well, let's get that on the deck for we're planning on doing a deck of vehicle cards for Marvel and DC along like the G.I. Joe. What was it called? The Fantastic Car. Let's write that down. We've got to make sure we include that. Fantastic Car. All right. Along with Spider Car. All right.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So my pick for hero. Now I'm really going with the Pepper Potts version because I don't really think the Emma Frost version ever actually existed. It was just a variant cover. But that cover with Emma Frost in an Iron Man suit is amazing. Really, really like it. But Rescue as Pepper Potts' Rescue is my favorite.
Is that who that is? Oh, because I got Rescue recently on Marvel Snap, and I'm like, who's this character? So is that what it's Pepper Potts inside the suit?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right. Is it a different suit? Is it her own suit, or is it like she's wearing
her own suit? But in the MCU, I think she just borrowed one of Tony's like 30 that he had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did. She wore it at the end of was it 3? That's right. So we actually did get we actually have already got Rescue sort of in a sense in the MCU.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think her suit is blue or something.
Yeah, I was gonna repaint the Iron Patriot because it like is kind of like not really overly masculine looking, so I figured it could be
get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great looking character.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, Nelly, your hero.
I also had Rescue, but because I knew somebody else was also probably going to pick Rescue, I did have a somewhat cheating backup.
Yes, another cheater.
In Infinity War, Tony, there's a warp world fusion of Iron Man and Thor. So Stark Odinson, aka the Iron Hammer.
Wow.
Oh, that would be cool.
Well done. Lots of good amalgamated characters.
Yeah.
If you want to take it a step further, Iron Hammer fuses with Ghost Panther, who's Ghost Rider in Black Panther, to create Ghost Hammer. So,
oh my God,
cool.
2 people become 2, 2 people become 2, and then those 2 become 1.
Oh, that's. I don't know if you guys have seen that Steven Universe show, but that sounds like some like crystal fusing stuff going on there. That's cool.
Nice.
Awesome. That actually makes me think a really cool box would be a box of Iron Man suit wearing like different heroes. So like a Thor wearing a suit, and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I like it. So this is one I thought I would have a lot of trouble with because when I was like thinking about it, I'm like, oh man, I think I know even less about Iron Man character, like the actual Iron Man comics. I'm like, no idea. Like I know that the Mandarin is I think one, and I know that there's that. A lot of people want the Mandarin because we've seen there's a. Have we seen that? I know we've seen that there's art. I don't know if we've seen there's a model. Maybe we have seen like there was like a model at a trade show or something once or something like that. But I didn't want to go with the Mandarin. Although, oh, he just missed out. I would love to see a Trevor Slattery as a support or something like that. Trevor Slattery would be amazing. The fake Mandarin, so good. But when I went through it, I basically treated the movie like I basically just used my knowledge of the movies for this list of Iron Man characters. And going through it, I'm like, I actually really like all of these picks. Like they're some of my favorites. So,
Nice.
It was easier than I thought. It was the hardest one when I was like, I put it off for ages, and then when I got to do it, I was like, oh, this is actually really easy, and I like these ones. Mark 1 Iron Man armor suit. So like that Iron Man suit he uses he builds in the cave in the movie. I don't know what the original idea in the comics is, but that one from the movie, I think that'd be a cool model. You could have some cool effects where it like maybe breaks down or something, so it's a little bit more fragile or something. But a really cool model. I think the Mark 1 Iron Man suit would be sweet. So
that's great. That's a cool variant, nice and different from normal. So I like that.
Let's embrace the variant train.
I went to the cartoons where my heart and soul lives. I need my Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman from Forceworks, the black and white Spider-Woman. I need her in my life. That long brown ponytail, bring it on. That's what I want. Yep. That's my hero.
Oh, yeah. When you said Spider-Woman, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I was like, wait, no, we have Spider-Woman. So this is a different Spider-Woman. Yeah. Who's the one we have in the game already?
We have Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew,
the red and yellow one. This one's black and white.
On your fancy picture machine there, Andrew, do you have a picture of the Julia Carpenter thing?
Sure.
I want to see what we're talking about.
Bring her up.
They did a great job with her costume in the Madam Web movie.
That's what I hear. I haven't seen that, but I hear that they really nailed it.
They nailed it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Yeah, that's a nice classic looking suit. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Villain time. Now this is going to be interesting. Okay, Dave.
So had the ending of the Krakoan era gone differently, I would have picked there's a character that's like a opposing Tony Stark. And it's actually, he's a great villain, but of course everything at the end of the Krakoan era, they just like crashed and like just like wiped the table and got rid of everybody. But he was great because he bankrupted Tony and like took his company. So I really liked that villain. But since that's still kind of sore in my mind, I went with the very classic Mandarin from, I like the one from Shang-Chi. That incarnation of the Mandarin was a lot of fun. So yeah.
So we almost had crossover if I'd gone with Mandarin. Yeah. I'll say maybe let's cheat and say that I also said Mandarin, and then we can each other. So hold on. In Shang-Chi, remind me. So is Shang-Chi's dad the Mandarin in that one?
Yeah, but he's like almost like a mythological figure because he's been around like a really long time, and the rings, maybe the rings themselves gave him like immortality. I can't remember, but he's like an old warlord that has like survived to the modern day.
Yeah. So in the MCU, if we had 3 Mandarins now, if we had like Guy Pearce pretending to be the Mandarin, and then we had Trevor Slattery pretending to be the Mandarin, and then we had old warlord Mandarin, but none of them are actually really the Mandarin that we know from the comics.
Yeah. That's right.
Talk about, well, there you go. Look at all the dupes. Like, why can't we have dupes in Marvel United if we get so many dupes in the MCU? There you go. There's a lot. Wow, that's a lot of Mandarins that aren't the Mandarin.
Nelly, are you crossing over to the Mandarin side?
I am not. I wanted to avoid him because I figured he would get picked by somebody, but I went with Blizzard.
Ooh, Blizzard. Nice.
Yeah, which, funny enough, Jim, the fourth Blizzard, gets his like cryokinetic powers from the Mandarin.
Oh,
Ah, I'd like to. I don't know the Blizzard hasn't been in the MCU, has it?
No.
No, I'd like that sounds like a cool name for a character though. So I'd like to
yeah.
see what that's all about. Yeah, that's cool. See, and now I'm going to go look up the Blizzard. So you've inspired more learning. And hi to James and Katie Stands as well. Just joined us as well. That's cool. Got a lively comment section with different ideas and stuff going there.
Yeah,
I like the
some
game.
stuff.
I like the game that Wen's playing where he's picking stuff that's he's like doing his best to try and pick stuff that's not already in the game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that's in there. But keep them coming. Yeah, keep them coming, guys.
Mhm.
Tell us your picks for these. So what are we talking here? We're talking villains, right?
Yep.
This is possibly one of my favorite characters in this entire list. I love this character. I love this actor. I love this. A lot of people poo-poo this movie. Iron Man 2. I love this movie. I don't know what people's problem is. And this guy is amazing. Words to live by. His motto is my motto, dessert first. Who wouldn't want to eat their ice cream before their peas and, broccoli and all that sort of stuff? This guy is a legend. He's super funny. I don't know what you do with him as a character in the game, but I think you could have some fun with it because, I'm a proponent of guy in a suit is a perfect candidate for a character in this game. Justin Hammer, amazing. What a performance by Sam Rockwell, right? He was so good. I loved this guy. He was so good. I think he'd be a really fun villain for that Iron Man sort of world thing. You could have something to do with like him having all these like robot, these dodgy hammer core robots and stuff like that. He'd be really cool. And if we're going to have models that have a little sound effect inserted in the bottom of the base as well, we have to find a way to make like an animatronic models where they do that little moonwalk dance where he walks onto the stage as well, because that's one of my favorite moments in the whole movie, where he's got his big presentation and he comes out and he does his little dance on the stage. Like everything about Justin Hammer and like what an absolute clown he is my favorite. So Justin Hammer, absolutely, probably my favorite character in this whole list. We need Sam Rockwell as a chibi figure
Yes.
in all his glory. So yeah.
I love it. And I'm backing you up on that, man, because I loved Iron Man too. I agree. It gets the poo-poo, and I don't think it deserves the poo-poo at all. Justin Hammer is so much fun. That was a very different take on the Justin Hammer that I knew, and I like Sam Rockwell's take much better. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I actually have no idea about Justin Hammer at all, other than the movie. So, so apologies to folks who might know him in the comics. But yeah, like I don't know if he's a good choice there, but in the movie he's great. So
Oh yeah, and he'd be fun to fight in the game. I had to go with my heart and pick the obvious choice. I had to go with Mandarin, one of the most gaping holes in the hearts of every United fan. Like, just where is he? Where is he? Are you okay, Mandarin? Are you all right? Do you need help? Nice to hear you help.
Give us a sign.
Yeah.
All right.
But isn't it weird? Like, what a weird character. Like, there's been like 3 versions of him that aren't really the versions of him in the movies. And in the game itself, we know we've seen like art and I don't know, like, didn't we? I swear we saw like there was someone went to like a Gen Con or something, and there was a picture of his model in a glass window. I swear I've seen that or something like that. Like,
I think we've seen
Mandarin.
Was it Child Creative's paint up of a model.
Yeah. He's kind
like
of standing like this. He's got the suit.
Yeah.
And
he's kind of like, and he's got the. You can see like he's kind of got his fists up, and you can see the rings on his fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so weird that that we never got it. Like, he's such a nebulous,
So,
we never quite get the real
One
him.
of the issues with the Mandarin is that there's a weird licensing thing, because the original Mandarin was like I think he was, I mean, he's also like a racist caricature, but
there's that. The
original one, I think, wasn't owned by Marvel. I think it was like a different company that had created the character. Or somehow the copyright isn't held by Marvel of the original one, but
right.
But I'm fine with like an alternate take, and I feel like you can't copyright the name the Mandarin.
No.
Yeah.
I think
Here
Marvel
in Canada,
there's like so many of them now.
yeah. In Canada here, there's literally a chain of Chinese buffets called Mandarin. So like,
Oh.
the copyright is a loose thing when it comes to the name. Yeah, that's bring them in.
Yeah.
Okay, anti-hero time.
Okay. So this was tougher for me because again, I also am not an Iron Man buff at all. But I saw a mention of this, and it's funny because I don't know the original character, but the character that I think of is the one from the second Ant-Man movie, which is Ghost. But apparently there was like another Ghost that was an Iron Man villain, and I don't know if the new character was based on that character, but I liked the one from the Ant-Man movie.
And she's in Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah,
She's
cool character.
I'm
glad they finally brought her back in that movie because I wanted to bring Ghost back. What are you waiting for? And
cool. And you could do some cool stuff in the game with her too. I reckon that phasing, shifting sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
Some translucent white plastic too.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Nelly.
We've got crossover, and I don't have a backup for this one.
Hey!
Ghost was my choice for the anti.
Very nice.
See, I like how you guys like Ghost. I never would have I like how I'm sort of learning these characters that I kind of know about, I've heard of, but I didn't know. Okay, they're associated with this pocket. You know, like I didn't know Ghost had anything to do with the Iron Man pocket and that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I would have put Ghost in the Ant-Man pocket.
Yeah,
I think Ghost has been in more like Thunderbolt related material, but like they first showed up in Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah. That's where my lack of comic knowledge is letting me down.
Well, I think the MCU version is like an innate power more so, whereas I think the comic one, Ghost, is like a suit that like.
That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So the bad guys are like suit based and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of suit based, are we talking anti-heroes now?
Antis, yeah.
Yeah, this is one that I only just thought of recently, and I'm like, oh, what a perfect way to get this character in, because this is a character that a few people have made a villain version of that's already an existing hero in the game. And so I really would like to see a villain version of this in the game as well, like an official one, as much as the versions that a few people have done already are actually really cool, and I highly recommend them. You should definitely go check out Scud O, and I think you can find his version on Board Game Geek, and I think you can find Derek from Kanji Studios' version on the wiki maybe, and that is the Punisher. The Punisher, I think, is a perfect candidate for an anti-hero. We need a villain version where he's gone berserk and isn't listening to reason, sort of thing. Although, does he ever? I don't know. But like, you know, I think he's definitely in that category. This was one of my last ones. I think I was trying to scribble some things down in this one the other day. To put him in this list is because I really want to see him in that War Machine armor. So have Punisher in the like some sort of Iron Man War Machine armor, which I think is coming up in one of these new TV shows. So, and then that's a way to get the anti-hero version of him into the game. So I don't know if necessarily War Machine armor Punisher is necessarily the right spot for him to be a bad guy. Maybe he's only a good guy in that suit, but I just think I'd love to see a Punisher Iron Man suit, just like we were talking about having like a box of like all different heroes having an Iron Man version of that hero. I'd like to see the Punisher version, and I think that'd be a cool one. And I don't know, I feel like Punisher wearing an Iron Man suit would feel like he could sort of have carte blanche to do some pretty crazy stuff. So he'd probably go a bit overboard, I reckon, and so therefore he could be a villain as well. So yeah, that'd be cool. So my choice is Punisher wearing War Machine armor. And
Nice.
I don't know if it's just like an AI thing or like a fan-made thing, but I've seen a poster where like that John Bernthal guy is wearing the suit, and he just looks awesome, and he's got like the big skull on the chest of the Iron Man suit sort of thing. And I think that'd be cool. So Yeah, that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
choice. I don't know if it's actually a legit choice or ever actually happens in the Iron Man universe, but that's what I'd pick.
Well, I know there's a lot of people in the comments section that like the CMON comment section, I should specify, who just they'll take any Punisher they can get. So
Yeah.
I don't think they'll fight you on that, whether you're
box.
an anti-hero or not.
Yeah.
I am clicking the buzzer because I also have Ghost. As
Yay!
my
Oh,
anti-hero. Yeah. Bring it
how
on. Yeah, she's got to be in this game. I don't even care which version of Ghost we get. It's just this character is now in the lexicon enough that let's get them. Let's get them on the table.
Wow,
All
that's
right.
I would never have picked that crossover because
me neither.
never had anything to do with Iron Man. Wow.
I love it. First three-way crossover too. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Support time.
Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this pick. So this is a negative support. So this would be someone you would add to your game to make the game more difficult for you. So this is Count Nefaria, or any character from the mafia that he's a part of, like Madame Mask and stuff like that. I'd love to see those characters as, because like, I mean, yes, they can be their own villains on their own, but I feel like you would be fighting someone and they would just show up like they're robbing something nearby.
Yes.
Yeah.
They basically work like a complication deck in a way.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Count Nefaria, and she's got a great name too. Yeah. That's a sweet pick. Nelly, what do you got?
So I went with the obvious Jarvis.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Now I don't know if Jarvis is what I'm talking about here, but I went with Tony's workshop robot arm from the first movie. He had like that bunch of robot arms, and they were like the comic relief of the movie. Like he'd be like blowing up and all this sort of stuff, and like 5 minutes later they'd spray him with like a fire hydrant, like too late to put out the fire and stuff like that. or like bring him a coffee or something like just those little comic relief robot arms I think would be funny for Tony. You could have them and they'd be like, they'd help him suit up better or something like that. But I thought, so I don't know if they're like linked into the same network as Jarvis or whatever, but I think that'd be cool. So yeah.
Nice. That's a great pick too. I didn't even think of Jarvis, but Jarvis is awesome. I went with, I'm surprised we didn't have this as a crossover as well. I went with Happy Hogan.
Yeah, Happy Hogan.
My good buddy Happy. I was debating between him and Pepper, but I was like, you know what? I'd rather have Rescue than have Pepper just as support. So Happy Hogan, the bodyguard with a heart of gold. Yeah. And he can bodyguard everybody. Yeah.
I like that I like his name, Forehead of Security, because he's
Forehead of Security.
Because when you said, I can't believe no one said this, I thought you were going to say Pepper Potts, and then I realized that we had already said Pepper Potts, but in a different capacity. So yeah, Happy Hogan's a great choice. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was Iron Man was a fun little world. I thought that was going to be real. Yeah. I'm like, who's in Iron Man? I don't know anyone from Iron Man, but yeah. So I guess all the comic fans from years and years of comics of Iron Man know, but like I don't know.
It's just the right amount of untapped by the game. That, like once you dig a little bit, you're like, oh, there's a lot of ore in this mine. This is juicy.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Thor/Asgard.
I feel like there's going to be some crossover here.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's some pretty big names that are missing that are obvious big names. Like if you're talking about a major sort of character and world that is in United but didn't get fleshed out a lot because the box set was kind of small and then there wasn't a lot of extra stuff in the promos, this is the one. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see, Dave, are you bringing us our first hero here?
This was one I was really shocked it didn't show up in the original season, and that is Heimdall. I would rather see, rather than his classic look with the helmet, I love the way he looked in the later Thor shows, the later Thor movies without the helmet.
Yeah.
Really badass.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a cool character, and like if we could get a chibi mini of, like, I know there's the original comics version, but if we get a chibi mini of Idris Elba, mate.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. That'd be
Yes. Well, hopefully, if DC's still on the table, we'll be getting Bloodsport. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's true, JR. Like a full quarter of the stretch goals for the future could be Thor because there's so much left on the table. Billy Ray. I'm assuming you mean Beta Ray Bill, but I'm only going to call him Billy Ray from now on.
Is that Achy Breaky Heart?
Yeah. All right, Nelly, who's your hero?
First off, I want pizza now.
Yeah. Nice going to Razile Pizza Party.
I went with Angela.
Angela, great choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Great choice. Yeah.
I think we're getting
her design. So like the golden armor, the
yes.
Like I don't know why like all the Asgard like warriors look cool, but like something about her design specifically always kind of drew me like and made me actually think like warrior compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Can you guys fill us in on, because Angela's one that's popped up a lot, like in my Marvel Snap and that sort of stuff. And like you said, she's got a really striking design. I think we're getting her in Big Head Chibi's Patreon this month as well.
Yeah.
But can you guys like fill me in on who she is? Like, what's her deal? Because I'm like, oh, the warrior woman, but I'm like, is she cosmic? Is she Thor? What, like, where's she from? So
she's Odin and Freya's firstborn.
Oh, so she's kind of related to Thor.
Yeah, she's Thor's sister.
Oh, wow. Okay. Ah. Okay.
Wait, she
did not know that.
Is Hela like based on her and not actually a Marvel character?
Angela is technically also Angela is the Queen of Hell.
Wow.
Really? So
I think she was the Queen of Hell before Hela, if my memory is correct. But
these soap opera family trees, man.
yeah.
Does Hela exist in the comics, or is she MCU only?
No, Hela.
So
Hela is definitely in the comics.
Her helmet is so Jack Kirby. There's no way she's not in the comics. She must be.
Oh, so wait, so is Hela the daughter of Frigga and?
No, she's not related to them in the comics.
Oh,
but she was.
Yeah, Hela was originally Hela was originally the Black Infinity Stone.
Wow.
Yeah.
The more you know.
I'm confused. I don't. Yeah, but okay. So Angela though is one of Thor's sisters, and Hela is also one of Thor's sisters
in the MCU only.
Yeah, Hela is the sister in the MCU.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's why I was like, is she made up for the? Okay, so she exists.
Yeah, she's in the comics. She was created by like at the time Allfather Bor, basically had his like magicians create the stone from like a forbidden area of like Niflheim. But then when like Thanos attacked and stuff happened, which ended up giving like Hela life. At some point she does also become like Queen of Hell, but I forget the exact details of that story.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good choice. How could you not have Thor's sister in the game? That's a good choice. All right, so
that's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're talking heroes. Yes. I forgot. Apologies. I forgot that we were doing the stone-faced no reveal thing. For some reason, even though we've been doing it all video, for some reason I thought we were jumping up and down every time there was a crossover announced, but I'll do it now. Boo. Heimdall. We can't not have Heimdall. Heimdall is too good. So we've got to have Idris Elba. If we can have Dukes of Idris Elba in the United Range, I'm down with that. So let's team him up with Dead Sport, Blood Sport, whatever his name is, and you could have the cool sword, like the pose could be cool. You could have a little rainbow base.
Yeah.
Like he could be standing on the bridge or something, or he could be standing on that big, whatever that thing is on the, he plugs it into the socket. He'd be cool. So I think he'd be awesome. So
And there needs to be a rule where if you're playing as Heimdall, when it's the start of your turn, every other player around the table has to go, Heimdall, open the Bifrost. That's in the rules.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do it, you lose.
I like all these rules that we're like forcing players to like act
Yes.
out the things.
This became a much more dramatic party game. And I love it. I went with my friend Lady Sif.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She's just another just outstanding character that has not been brought to our table yet. And she often comes packaged with 3 amigos. So that's kind of like getting 4 in 1.
Chuck them in. Yep, chuck them in. Because
So-
I wanted to put them in too. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going. I'm going with Lady Sif. All right, villain time. I'm curious about that. Dave, what do you got?
I was gonna say about Lady Sif, like in the Warriors 3, like that was the opening sequence of the first Thor movie. I loved, and I just wanted more of that.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so we're on to villains. I'm gonna be boring here, and I ended up going with Malekith, the elf guy from the second movie. Partially because I want a chibi little elf guy like that, which I would probably then homebrew into the elven brother character from the second Hellboy movie.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Cool.
He's not a comic character, he's just in the movie.
Awesome.
Nelly, what do you got?
So sticking to Thor's apparent unknown family tree, Odin's brother and Thor's uncle, the Norse god of fear, Kull Borson, aka Serpent.
Oh, never heard of this character.
Yeah, me neither.
That sounds like a fun one.
Is he just like a big snake?
No, he's just a really big dude with like a big axe. It's like a mystical staff that like transforms into a hammer with properties similar to like the worthy hammers. And that's like his main like. I don't think he does anything like actual like snake like. He's got like the typical like superhuman strength, speed, and stuff like that. Regeneration. He does a lot of like magic, including like you'd be able to just like teleport people away. He created his own like magical twisted version of Asgard, where he like raised and like recreated dead servants. I think he turned them into a giant serpent. I could be mistaken on that part. But yeah, so he does a lot of like magic and fear absorption. So like he'll inflict fear, absorb it, and then that fear powers him up.
Okay. And James is saying he's like the antagonist in Fear itself, which I haven't read, but I've heard of before. So that seems like a big deal in the comics. Is that right? That Fear itself storyline or something? So was he sort of like part of that that line or something? Was he?
I believe so. Also, a random fun weakness is that if he's fighting someone who is not afraid of him, then he ends up being afraid.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool mirror image thing.
I want this guy in Thor 5 now.
Yeah,
It sounds really fun.
That sounds like a cool, yeah. What I'm really liking is I'm learning a lot from you guys and also from the comments as well. The folks like James and Wen and there was someone else earlier too. I forget who. Sorry, apologies. There was someone else I think dropping some knowledge as well. But yeah, keep it coming, guys. That's cool. That's a good choice, Nelly. Good choice. I, however, have decided to go with Dave, and we've got crossover with Malekith because I really like the idea. I wanted to sort of know more about the Dark Elves and stuff from that movie, the Dark World and stuff like that. And so I'd like to sort of know more about like the comic version of that. And again, I think there's a model this month or maybe next month coming from one of the Patreons as well with the Malekith model. I don't know if that suits your purposes, Dave. Probably doesn't. Does it look enough like your character from Hellboy?
No, not quite. On the middle, which I wasn't
right.
expecting.
Okay. Yeah. But
yeah.
still a cool looking model, right? So, so we're kind of getting Malekith, but like in the homebrew world sort of thing, which is cool. But I think that'd be a cool character. I'd like to sort of explore that a bit more. And I also kind of like, I was like, oh, do I want that character or do I want that big giant guy that kind of like turned into a monster sort of thing? For was chasing him around during the movies. But Malekith was the main bad guy in that. I think that guy could be more like a henchman sort of thing. So yeah, that'd be cool. So yep, Malekith crossover, woohoo! We're having a lot of crossover, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're about to have one more.
Oh!
Yep, I got Malekith too. I mean, it's like there's a character who looks like this out there that we don't have in United yet. Like, come on, what are we even doing with our lives? We need this guy in chibi form right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's where that split comes from, Dave. See how he was wearing that thing with the thing? But yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I don't know if the comics really dive into this, but like he's like representing like the Elven, like one of the 9 worlds, right? There's got to be other worlds that I imagine Thor comics probably bring up, right? Like I know there's the Frost, but like there's got to be more, and that would be a really fun thing to explore. Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like this was such a world where there's so much, but I still only really knew the stuff from the movies. So like that's a big world you could dive into, right? Like you're saying, Dave. So all those. I guess because really the movies only sort of really focused on 1 or 2 of those realms, right? Well, we got to see Surtur a little bit from the Fire World or whatever, and the ice giants. But what was that world that they went to where like the rock guys were like, well, actually it was kind of like a big horde of guys sort of attacking them in this like village sort of thing. And
I forget where that was now.
I think one of the brothers 3 was from there because he seemed to sort of like stay there or something to fight or something. But like that seems like a cool world with like what sort of characters are there and then what other worlds are there. So drop them in the comments, guys, if you know, if you're Thor aficionados. The first thing I see in the comics is Prowler. I'm like, Prowler was in the. What about Green Goblins? Is there a goblin realm? Can we squeeze goblins?
There needs to be. If not,
we haven't
making one.
That's right. I think we've really let the team down. We've got like ever since the X-Men. I don't think we've seen a goblin character yet. So.
Well, we do have anti-heroes coming up. Maybe there's a goblin in our future, Dave. What do you think?
Maybe.
So my anti-hero pick is another MCU character. This is Sylvie from
nice.
Show. I really liked her. I should watch the second Loki show. I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen
that. I really
liked
the first season.
Yeah, great. Anything that'll let us recreate the shows and the movies, yes. So yes, bring Sylvie for sure. Nelly.
So technically also part of the MCU, but was kind of comic relief as opposed to his comic book self. I went with Zeus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually like a really nice like for the villain side of Zeus. There's a really nice string of comics covering Dark Olympus, where there's like a contest between like the Elders of the Universe and Grandmaster, and during this contest, Earth gets removed from its orbit, and that causes a spell that Zeus had on Earth to break, which allowed Nyx to break free. And then Nyx and her children attacked Olympus, killed all of the gods. Nyx was eventually defeated, but the gods are immortal, so they just revive. However, when they revived, they all came back as their quote true selves, which was just like these savage warmonger versions of themselves that then went on a rampage.
Cool. Yeah. Oh man, so many good choices. I went with. I want to mention actually. Katie Stan's was asking about Scourge or suggesting Scourge as well. Who's like I'd love to see a what's the actor's name again? Kiwi.
Yeah.
He's in Dread and The Boys.
Aylmer there.
Yeah, why am I blanking? I want to see Aimer in chibi form, right?
Yeah.
He'd be such a good choice for anti-hero as well. And like I think you couldn't go past, like, I don't know, maybe classic comic wise he's probably supposed to have his big axe or whatever, but I think you'd have to have him with like the 2 machine guns like that. But I also would demand to have on the model, maybe hanging from his belt, the shaken weight, you know, when he's like he's in front trying to impress those girls and he's got the shaken weight whatever that thing's called.
Carl Urban, that's his name.
Carl
There we
Urban,
go.
that's right.
Thank you,
I can't believe
Katie.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, what blasphemy! I couldn't remember Carl Urban's name, but yeah, that's definitely a good choice. And I kind of wish I'd written that down, but I didn't. I wrote something else down. And this one's an interesting one because I could see them just only doing a hero version of this, but I think you could also do an anti-hero version of this, and that is Odin. I think having Odin in there, and he's a classic character that you could almost have Odin more as a support or something like that. But I think he's such a big deal that he needs his own character, and he's probably done enough nefarious things in the past where he's a bad guy. Or you know, you could just have him from what's that Neil Gaiman series where
Mr. Wednesday.
Yeah, Mr. Wednesday is pretty much the same character, and he's pretty bad in that too. So, you know, take your pick. But good crossover with the MCU. But yeah, Odin, I think, is a major character that needs to be in the game. If you're going to have a Thor-themed season or a Thor-themed box again, I think Odin, along with Heimdall, and actually, to be honest, all those characters you guys have mentioned need to be in there. So, but Odin for sure, yeah, and Scourge. I'm going to add him on.
All right.
Yeah. Who are we crossovering with? Could be any of these characters.
It could be. Well, it's just, I had to take the world's word for it because I don't know about what the comics did, but I heard from a lot of people that Odin can be pretty villainous sometimes. So I went with Odin as well.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins United. Boom. Bring in his character from Mission Impossible 2 while we're at it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Support time.
Right.
I hope I have crossover with someone here, but
I don't really know. I know so little about the Thor universe, but I do love this character, and I've seen her show up in a. She showed up in the comics with the Scarlet Witch in the new Scarlet Witch run. And that is Darcy Lewis, the young professor character.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked her in Division, and what else was she in? I mean, she's in the Thor movies, but yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, that's good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darcy's cool. Anytime. Bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nelly.
So this is one that can technically fall under multiple categories. But I have chosen the Asgardian god of chaos and discord, Ratatoskr.
Oh my God, what a great name.
Oh.
Yeah, it's this like giant like demon squirrel looking thing. Who like she was imprisoned by Asgardian forces since like the beginning of time. And while in custody of the Asgardians, she was effectively just a messenger running up and down Yggdrasil to deliver messages. And according to Loki, she's responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs. With and I quote, "All the raptors got replaced by hairless apes who invented fax machines."
That's a very Loki thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Ratatoskr. I like that.
Cool.
Okay.
Nomad. Yeah, we've got some good suggestions here too. Freya support, Nomad Thor. I really like James's picks there, going back to, he's got some crossover with this. He's got Armor and Lila Cheney. There you go, Dave. Another support for Lila Cheney. But my favorite, what he's written down there, is the Mutant Liberation Front.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. That's a cool team from back in the day. I wholeheartedly support a villain battle with that. So that's good. But all right. You guys have let me down so far with support. I really wanted to cross over here. So, Andrew, you're my last chance. All right. We've got precedent with the Batmobile support card. All right. So, I want the Goat Chariot. I want Thor's Goat Chariot. And it has to have sounds where it goes, when he steps in it, you flick the little switch every time you move. We need the goat chariot. That's what we need.
With a little sound trigger when you press it
Yeah,
down.
little sound trigger. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think Tooth Grinder and Tooth Gnasher. I think that's their names. But yeah, that's
the goats.
Yeah, that's an amazing pick. Once again, I find myself in a boat where all three of you have way better picks than I do. Because I'm still riding the absolute delightful high that was Star Wars Andor. I'm going with Dr. Eric Selvig, Stellan Skarsgård. Just so that at some point on my Marvel United table, somebody can burn their life to make a sunrise that they'll never see. That's that's the plan.
I'm so glad you got Andor into this video. Yes. Yeah. So good.
All
Great
right.
choice.
Now it's time for the Hulk world, Gamma everywhere. This is an exciting one for me because it has a lot of just colorful, fun characters to choose from. And I think we might end up with very few crossover here, in fact, because there's quite a bit going on. Dave, who is your Gamma hero?
So, funny enough, my first is a crossover.
Ghost.
I lied.
No, Green Goblin.
So, I guess I probably should have thought of her more of as an Iron Man character, but Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. I definitely. I could see her being in the Hulk. I assume she has Hulk connections, but that's where I slipped her in. But yeah, love her.
Oh, I should have just said any character I want, and I'll just say I assume they have this connection. I could just put them in any.
I feel like I looked something up, and there was a thing that had a Hulk connection.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
All right, Wen's got a nice little lineup there. A son, and a wife of Hulk, all lined up. Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
Nelly, what do you got?
Well, I actually have a crossover with Wen. I picked Hulk's son, Scar.
Very nice. Very nice.
Although I did have a backup prepared in case, which since I wasn't expected to match up with the chat, but my backup was one of Betty Ross's Gamma forms, Harpy.
Oh, cool.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know about Harpy. That's cool. See, there's so many Hulk characters. That's it's still there on the table. All right. I love it. What do you got, Meeple Monkey?
Well, I've got we've got crossover. So I thought the Hulk when I was doing them, I thought, oh, the Hulk ones are obvious. Like everyone's going to say the same things, but I don't know the Hulk world that well, obviously. So maybe there's a lot more, but I'm still proven right because we've got crossover, and I went with Scar. So I saw his card pop up on Marvel Snap and stuff. So and is it the same? Is that the same character that shows up at the end of the movies or end of the She-Hulk series where Thor brings his? Is that the same son? That's the same character, is it? Yeah. So Scar. The Marvel Snap card looks cool, and I thought, well, yeah, we've got to have Hulk's son. So yeah, he's cool, and so crossover with the chat and with Nelly. So awesome.
Sweet. All right, and I didn't have a crossover until 4 seconds ago because mine is A-Bomb.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. A-Bomb is it's a way to get our buddy Rick Jones in the game, and he's blue. He's a big blue abomination, so you don't have to paint the mini either.
Nice. Yep.
And he's one of the few characters in Marvel where I own the comic that he first appeared in. That is a very, very exclusive roster because I don't buy a lot of comics. So when that happens, there's a special connection between me and that character. So yeah, I'm going with A-Bomb. All right, villain time.
Villain time.
Right. So this is probably good.
Sorry, Dave. Because I don't want to make you guys wait so long. So I'm going to quickly duck away for 30 seconds. I won't break my leg this time as well. And I'll come back. So I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second.
Cool.
All right, perfect.
Keep going, Dave.
Yeah. So this is one that I know that there is a connection with the Hulk, but I more associate this character with Alpha Flight, and that is the Wendigo.
Yes, I love it. Yes, do you remember there was a a Wolverine video game for like the first Xbox, and you could fight Wendigo in it, and he was really
cool.
hard to fight. Yeah, it was. I think it was X2 Wolverine's Revenge or something like it was like a weird movie tie-in game that was also not a movie tie-in game. Yeah, Wendigo is an awesome pick. He did fight the Hulk in the cartoon, so I love it. He chose Wendigo, Meeple Monkey.
Whoa! Yep, good.
Yeah,
Good. Wait.
Poker face. All right. Okay. Nelly, what do you got?
So this one could technically be part of the Thor group, but there's some clashes with Hulk. I chose Dario Agger, aka Minotaur.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, very
code name.
nice. Very
I
nice.
thought you were going to say Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones.
He's the CEO of Roxxon Energy, and secretly sold his soul to be a literal Minotaur.
Oh,
He
good plan.
trying to conquer the 10 realms of Asgard. He's gone up against Hulk.
Yeah.
So that is my pick.
Do we have a building in? I feel like I've seen Roxxon somewhere, like in the art somewhere. Do we have a build like?
I think so.
Do we have like a Marvel United location that has Roxxon in one of the buildings?
There must be, because it's a big
I
deal.
feel like I've seen that. Okay. Well, there you go.
Great pick. I didn't even know that character.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're talking villains.
Yep.
This is one I'm surprised. I thought we would have some more crossover here. I went with the leader because I don't really know any other Hulk villains. So I just went, well, I know this guy. He's got a big head. So the leader. I don't really know anything about him. I just know that he's a Thor character, and he was going to be in one of these recent movies and stuff. So, which I haven't seen yet. I don't think one with the Red Hulk. But yeah, the leader.
Nice.
He's one of my least interesting picks. I'm just like, well, he's a main one. I don't really know about him, but he's green. He's green, right? He's got a big green head.
Green.
Yeah. He really missed out on like the gamma thing. It's like, all right, just my
just his head.
Anyway.
Oh boy. So this was a tough call for me because I love Wendigo. I think Wendigo is such a great character to pick. I'm also a big fan of Zax. I think he's just like an underdog villain, and he would be very Parallax-esque in the way they would design that mini. Just a bunch of translucent yellow, because he's just made of lightning or something. So that would have been fun, but I had to pick the leader too, because he's so iconic, and he's so just a mainstay staple of classic Marvel that I feel like you can't get rid of him. You can't just leave him out of the equation. He's got to be part of that. The UFOs, I remember the UFOs. All right, so that is my villain, and I believe it is purple time.
Okay, so I have a non-purple purple. So my pick for this is Red She-Hulk, which is another Betty Ross era. But yeah, I think she looks really fun.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice. And we could maybe have like a Betty Ross, like normal figure, and then and then you could have them like change into each other and stuff. That'd be fun too.
We could have three because she has her harpy form.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
What does she look like when she goes harpy?
She looks like a harpy. She's red with like a bird-like neck and got like the wing underarms.
Oh, wow.
Cool. All right, that'd be a cool figure too.
Yeah.
So my auntie is Clayton Cortez, aka Weapon H, who is effectively a hybrid of Hulk and Wolverine.
What?
Oh, wow!
He's big, gray, and has like the adamantium Wolverine claws, as well as just like a lot of like spikes coming out along the side of his legs and the side of the arms.
That's insane.
Weapon H.
I did not know that existed. Oh my gosh. Weapon H. What a great name too.
That's very cool. I really like that choice. we're talking purple.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out we showed that picture as well. It reminds me that there's a lot of stuff in the Hulk world that I'm discovering through the snap, and so that his wife, Kiara or whatever her name is, Gayer or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce that because it's a whole bunch of like letters that just in my brain don't go well together.
Kyra.
But Kyra, yeah. She'd be a good choice. So I think it was James mentioned her before. I think she'd be a good one. But I didn't pick her. But I also saw there's a recent character. He's all kind of like red and glowing and stuff. I don't know what he looks like. He's a Hulk character. Now I can't think of the name of it, so I realize my story is going nowhere. But anyway, there's lots of cool big Hulk-looking creatures that look really cool. So I think you could have like a whole box of cool big giant giant beefcake dudes. But I went with another big hairy beefcake dude. Boo, 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 boo. For my anti-hero, I went with Wendigo. And I put him in the Wendigo thing because I'd already chosen leader. But also I remember and I don't know if Dave's already talked about this when I was running downstairs, but I remember like reading the first issue because I think it's when Wolverine pops up when Hulk is fighting Wendigo or something like that. Is that right? But then I don't know if it's in the same issue or later on. I read a comic where like Wendigo is actually trying to, and his girlfriend or something are trying to like, they're actually trying to like get rid of the curse, or they're fighting, like they're not essentially truly evil. They're like, Wendigo's kind of like he's fighting to sort of like save his sister from some bad guy or something like that. Maybe even Moon Knight's involved in that story. I can't remember, but I've read bits where I assume that Wendigo is also a good guy sometimes. So so I've picked Wendigo. He's a cool character. You can have a cool model. It'd be cool to have. I like when you can have those like thematic matchups where you can have Wendigo on the same team as Sasquatch, and then Major Ursa or whatever his name is, and have like the big hairy team, and that sort of stuff. So the more of these things where we can fill out, you can have 4 of them. Let's do it. So that's cool. So yeah, Wendigo is my pick.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm hitting that buzzer again. As much as it pains me that she needs to be purple, I'm going with Red She-Hulk. It'd be nice if we could have a red Hulk who's actually red, but I guess that's what pink is for.
I can't believe you of all people are picking this one.
I know, right? It's like as soon as I learned she existed, I was like, oh boy, we need her in this game now. And I was literally, I felt like I was trying to win a debate that was not in my favor, because I was scrolling through all of her Wikipedias and everything to be like, come on, she's got to be more evil than good, right? So I can make her red. But everything I read is just like, most of the time she's friends with Hulk, and sometimes she causes trouble. I'm like, God damn, she's got to be purple. Fine. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, support time. Who's supporting the Hulk?
Okay, so this is within the Hulk realm, but it's more She-Hulk. And this was a character that I knew needed to be a support character as soon as I saw her, and that is Madison from the She-Hulk. I don't know that she's helpful, but she's definitely a support character.
Yeah. And you've got to work that but not where you think, somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. Great choice. And I'm angry with myself that I didn't think of it.
Same. I don't even like my answer anymore.
Yeah.
All right, Nelly. What do you got?
So she's come up already in this conversation in her various different forms, but as a support, I'm going with her base non-gamma form, just Elizabeth Betty Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already run up and down the stairs too many times, so I'm not going to do it now. But I would go and get minis from Mars's version of Betty Ross to show off, because that's a really cool one, and it's based on that statue I think it's in New York or something, where the little girl's like standing up against the raging bull or whatever, and she's kind of like hands on her hips sort of thing. It looks really cool. So great model. So good choice.
And versatile, because it works with the Red Hulk fight too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right.
So, well, related to that, I have gone with A-Bomb as the support character. Not really A-Bomb, because obviously A-Bomb wouldn't be support, but I've gone with Rick Jones. And speaking of minis from Mars, here's the minis from Mars. Whoa. Rick Jones. David Hasselhoff. He's about to jump in kit here. So, but yeah, great model. And also, I think you have to work into the rules that he plays his harmonica and soothes Savage Beast or something like that. So,
Great.
But yeah, Rick Jones. I think it's either got to be Betty Ross or Rick Jones, as Katie Stan says there. And luckily we split the difference and we got both of them covered. So yeah, Rick Jones is my pick, and that way I feel like I'm also included in a crossover with A-Bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, cool one. Excellent.
All right, I'm gonna ring the crossover bell, because I also have Betty Ross. Again, the versatility. Yeah, use her for Red Hulk. Use her here. She can do a lot of neat stuff. But now that I've heard the word Madison used, I regret this choice severely, because Madison is the right answer.
Yeah, I want minis from Mars to make a Madison now, so we
she has to have a little martini in her hand.
Amazing.
All right, our next pocket, cosmic/space. Okay, there's a lot to work with here. Dave, your cosmic/space hero.
So there were too many choices for this, but one character that I would love to see, especially because we saw a version of her in the End of the Marvels, is Binary. The all flame Captain Marvel.
That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of different flavors of Captain Marvel, isn't there? And that's one that's not really represented yet. I like that. Hey, Binary. All right. What do you got, Nelly?
So I am going to say come back to me, because my list is out of order and I'm trying to find my cosmic people.
All right.
So come back.
No problem.
Oh, no.
I
was trying to find them.
It's also missing.
That's a cool pick, by the way. I like that. I didn't really know who that character was, but I liked your showing of the picture there. I don't know if people have been catching me all of a sudden go quiet and start looking down and get really confused look on my face, but I really wish I had more time, because I'm sitting here struggling to remember. I've messed up my list, I think, because of the name I've written down in my hero category. So bear with me. Someone's going to have to come to my rescue and maybe explain why I wrote this name down as a hero, because I have no idea why it's in the hero category. But I wrote down Ego, which I'm assuming is the living planet, which I thought I still stand by that. I think that'd be a really cool pick, Ego, the living planet. I know that Diversion Architect has made, not Diversion Architect, sorry, Kanji Studios, Derek has made a really cool villain battle for that, where there's no model, it's just all the locations make up that battle sort of thing. I still think you could have a pretty cool model somehow. I don't know how they do it, but like either just have a big ball with a face on it, or you could have the Kurt Russell version where he's like in human form or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have
no
idea why he's a hero. Like, has he ever been good?
He should be a playable villain, so you have to play as him. And so one of the players has to wear a mask that is the planet.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
and sit in get up on the table and sit in the middle of the table where Galactus would normally sit. What? Either you guys or anyone in the chat, has Ego ever been a good guy?
I don't know. Not that I know. But
What was I thinking? Was it just really late at night when I was writing this list up? Why have I put him in my hero slot? I don't know. Maybe just like I saw Cosmic, and the first thing that came to mind was Ego, and then I just forgot that. Yeah. So anyway, Ego for some reason is my choice, but I feel like I've made a mistake and that's not correct. So yeah. Sorry.
We can do Kurt Russell before he reveals he's a jerk.
Yes, that's right.
When he's just playing catch.
Yeah.
For my cosmic hero, I went with, it's not a cheat, but it sets up some nice bowling pins for me. I went with Thena, the Eternal, Angelina Jolie. for no other reason than I think she's the coolest, most toyetic looking one.
Yeah,
that's a pretty glorious sword she's got there. And I mean, if you're getting Thena, chances are good you're getting her 9 friends. So I am like, yes. So I went with Thena because of what she potentially promises down the line. All right.
I appreciate James trying to help me out there justifying, but it feels like some of the characters trying to justify the Imperial's actions in Andor, just to get another Andor reference in. But before we go, Nelly, did you work out?
I did find that list, which
fortunately
this is an easy one because it's tied with somebody in chat. But Uatu the Watcher was my hero choice.
Cool. Beautiful choice.
Yeah. And Andrew's already got our ideas for that as a character in the game too, don't you? Didn't you have him as a challenge mode or something? One of your early videos?
I think so. Yeah. I put him as some kind of challenge, but yeah, he's got to be in the game.
Yeah, and that might have been I can't remember if that was the inspiration or if it was a coincidence, but that might have been the inspiration for when I was thinking about doing Cameron Hodge, like going around the storyline, because I think you said something about the Watcher interacting with the storyline or something. Yeah.
Yes. And actually, that's something I have for later too. All right. The villains of the cosmic world, Dave.
Okay, so the original X-Men cosmic villain has to be here, and it's tough because I would actually really like to have one of his underlings, Eric the Red. But Emperor Decan is definitely my pick.
Yes.
Yeah, good choice.
Classic, a cartoon villain. So he's like, I am all on board for him. And yeah, Eric the Red looks great too. Man, we need Decan. We need Decan in our life. Great pick. Nelly, what do you got?
So for my villain, I have Magus, who is the evil future version of Adam Warlock.
Oh, okay.
I think he's purple, right?
Yeah, skin-wise, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Oh, talking about crossovers, a purple character like in the great series. I've been waiting for an opportunity to drop that in. Although we've mentioned the word purple about 500 times. I don't know why I didn't mention it earlier.
That's a great plug. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, cool. Now, Cosmic is, again, this is sort of like a world where not only do I not know a lot about it, but apart from really liking the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it's probably my least favorite realm of Marvel. I just am not really drawn to it, apart from when the X-Men go on holidays and they go visit the, whatever Professor X's friend with benefits. What's her name?
They're doing a new comic. They're doing a new comic. Why? It's Xavier and Melandra.
Yeah, there you go. But so my picks here, but I still think I was able to get some good ones, and I did get crossover. Someone in the comments, who was that just recently, said Victor Hugo. I heard of Victor Hugo said the Collector. Oh no, wait, spoilers. I've stuffed up my list. Sorry. Oh. Well, anyway, I'm reading down. I forgot that anyway, let's stick with it. All right, so we're flashing forward to the future because it's all cosmic and stuff is happening. So this is actually my anti-hero pick. So apologies, guys, I've stuffed this up. But I'm going to go with the Collector. The Collector, I think, would be a cool anti-hero sort of thing because he's a bit of a rascal sort of thing, and probably more of a villain, but I don't know. I assume he's done some good things too. But I think he'd be a fun one. Rules wise, you could have some fun stuff with him as a hero and a villain sort of thing, like going around having to collect things and things like that. Maybe something similar to Mr. Sinister, where he's got his own little game plan going on and that sort of stuff. So even if you're using him as a hero, he's kind of still being a bit of a jerk and stuff. You could have some fun with equipment cards or his own little deck or something like that with all his actual collection of things that he could use. And then, of course, you could do some fun stuff with him as a bad guy. He's a fun character. You would get Benicio del Toro in chibi form. So, yeah, the collector, I think he'd be a fun one. So yeah, that's my jumping forward. That's my anti-hero pick. And when we do anti-heroes, I'll go back and do the villain pick. So so there you go.
All right.
Yeah, my choice.
For
Crossover.
my-
Burp, 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 burp.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we got another crossover. Burp, 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 burp.
Oh.
We have a crossover villain, even though
Mm.
he wasn't a villain a few moments ago, and that's Ego the Living Planet.
Oh, yeah. Just see, maybe he can be purple.
yeah. Yeah, I just want Ego, like that one, the homebrewer you mentioned, who just geniusly came up with that idea. Like, just make it locations.
Yeah.
You don't even need a mini. Save the
Yeah.
money. Like, and it's such a cheap production that way that literally Simon could give us this character right now.
Yeah.
They could give it,
It could
to
be
us
a
tomorrow.
Gen Con deck, right? Because you don't. That
Yeah.
way they could do a Gen Con deck that isn't tied to something that is in. Usually they tie it to something that's in like one of the retail sets, all right. But this way they could do it, and then So yeah.
Exactly.
Although I guess they'd want to give us the locations though. You can give like cards and locations in a box or something. But
yeah, you just get like a nice big box, and there you go. You're all set.
Yeah.
All right. We are on to anti-heroes now. I don't even remember who mine is. So Dave, why you?
I
tell
do.
Yours? I'm gonna look at mine.
I remember what my anti-hero was because I just said it.
So this is continuing off of Gladiator, who we have already gotten. Oracle from the Imperial Guard. She's the kind of second in command, essentially. On Imperial Guard.
And then, Dave, if you get one Imperial Guard, then they may as well throw the other 40 that you've been working on in as well. You've got a whole
lot of
box.
characters in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
very
that
cool.
that one episode of X-Men, the animated series, where it's where Phoenix is coming into play, and the whole Imperial Guard just fights the X-Men, and it's just like every one of those characters, you're like, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. So, yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nelly.
So this one's somewhat of a cheat because it's probably more accurate to say a hero and a villain just because they look completely different, but they're technically the same person. They have different names depending on who they are. There's one above all, whose only weapon is love. However, they can also manifest themselves as a demonic entity called one below all.
Oh, cool.
Fun.
Giving me Sentry vibes, Void and Sentry something.
Yeah, they're a servant of the Living Tribunal.
Ah, cool. That's another character that would be cool as well, the Living Tribunal, like the big three-headed thing. Yeah.
Right.
Great choices. All right, so now I guess I'm going back to Villain World.
Yes.
And this is part of the reason apart from like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've kind of written my villains and anti-heroes in the wrong order on my page. That's why I'm surprised I haven't made this mistake earlier. But the other reason I mix these up is because I sort of associate them together. I always think of them together. And this one is the Grand Master, because when I used to play the old, I think it was called Marvel Contest on my iPad. It was like a little, barely a fighting game. And in the storyline of that, the Collector, I think, is the bad guy. And then like halfway through the game, it gets revealed that no, the Collector isn't the bad guy. The Grand Master is the bad guy. And the Grand Master is revealed to me, at least I didn't know this at the time, apparently is the brother of the Collector or something like that. And so he's like a bigger bad than the Collector. So I figured, well, he could be the villain if to the Collector's anti-hero. I would have probably picked him anyway because I probably wouldn't have remembered any other cosmic villains. But having seen, what's his name with the stick that melts people?
Jeff Goldblum.
Having seen Jeff Goldblum take on this character, I mean, how could we not have this? Like he looks amazing too. I like his little face paint thing and the way he's dressed and stuff. He's cool. It's not the traditional Grandmaster, but he's mate. What an awesome character, and he would be so fun. I almost think he'd be good as an anti-hero because then you could have that whole run where he was like housemates with Thor and Thor's housemate in, where do they live, in Australia or New Zealand somewhere? They were like, remember that little mini series where like Thor was living with just this guy named Dave or something, Like, and he was like an Aussie guy, and he was hanging out, and then like Jeff Goldblum came to stay with them, and he kept like threatening to melt the guy and stuff. So I want to see Grandmaster in the game. I think that'd be fun, and that way you could maybe have like the henchman version of his like bodyguard lady who's always in all those what's his name?
Waititi.
Waititi, his movie, like a lot of his movies have her in it. Like she's great in what's the one where the little kid goes missing in the wilderness, set in New Zealand. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off track. I hold my points. I ask you guys to tell me what the answer are to them. But there's a great movie by him. It's like a kind of an indie movie set in New Zealand where like some kids go missing, or he gets taken by his dad or stepdad or something like that, and they go hunting, and she plays like a police officer or something like that, and is really funny in it. Cool. So it's great movie.
Yeah, that's an awesome pick. That character, the version that Jeff Goldblum gave us, yeah, he needs to be in Marvel United.
So good. Yeah. Apologies for that random story.
No problem. So that was your villain, just so everyone's clear. That was your villain.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was a story. It was a vibe. It was a whole thing.
It was a vibe. So for my anti-hero, I went with movie logic and not comic logic, because apparently I brought this character up as an anti-hero before, and I got some flack for it, where they're like, "Oh, how dare you? He's a hero only."
From us or from the comments?
From some comment section.
Okay.
I can't remember where. But I like movie logic, so I'm going with Icarus, the Eternal.
Oh, yep.
As an anti-hero. And again, because that just means his friends are probably not far behind, maybe even in the same box. Mm-hmm. So, and his turn as a villain was really emotionally powerful. I think it was one of the coolest parts of that movie. Hugely underrated movie, in my opinion. So I want some Icarus action in there. That's my pick.
I think even Icarus, the heroic character, could easily be a problem that you have to deal with, because he's so like single-minded and focused, you know, that like he could definitely be something you have to deal with as a hero.
Yes.
Yeah. And that way we get Rob Stark in the game as well. So
exactly.
So yep. Yeah. Cool.
Right. It's support time. This was hard. Support in the Cosmic was hard. It was one of my toughest choices. Dave, I hope you came up with something good.
So this has like already been used, I think, by all of you. So multi crossover. The Watcher.
Hey, the Watcher. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's great.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was an obvious one. Well, why didn't we all think of that? Well, maybe we have. Maybe we have. Shut up, Daniel.
He suits support really well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nelly.
So somewhat of a cheat, but in DC, the Batmobile is a like equipment and a support. So I'm gonna do the same thing because I like the Starjammers. So my support is the Starjammer ship.
Oh yeah, nice.
Amazing. Yeah, I love it.
I literally saw Maples break.
Yeah.
I watched it in real time.
We were so close to a crossover there, and I cannot believe how close we came to a crossover without being a crossover. And I'm really angry with myself for not thinking of this one, because I actually looked down at my page earlier and was like, why have I written this down as well? How was I justifying this? I think I worked it out. But again, a ship. I had a Ravager ship. I had the Ravagers show up, and they help out, and they've got their fleet and stuff like that. So I had maybe a fleet of them, or one of them have the Ravagers come in and help. And I remember looking at this going, why didn't I just say one of the Ravagers as one of my character choices? Why did I say the ship of a Ravager? They're not that iconic. But now I'm I totally meant the Starjammer ship. That's what I meant. I totally that's a way better pick. So I'm going to change mine to the Starjammer ship. So it's in writing. All right, there you go.
It's all there in ink. Yeah.
All right. So So
Legally binding in a court of law. He puts Starjammer.
Starjammer, and that's because that's such a because it ties in with their whole mechanic. So you could totally have like as long as they're like even in that location, they could keep the chain going. But also, it doesn't one of them have like the pilot skill?
Yeah.
And so you can interact with that. And oh, mate, amazing! That's an amazing pick, and that's totally what I wrote. Starjammer crossover.
That changes the game completely for when you use those characters too. I love it.
Yeah.
Once again,
sorry. That it interacts with the team deck as well.
Yes, exactly.
The team deck uses that as well. Yeah.
So versatile. So I find myself again in the boat where now my choice is just like my least favorite of what everybody's brought to the table. And I'm gonna say that I would rather have what you guys put, because at the end of the day, I had a lot of trouble picking a support character, and I went with a character who I would much rather have as a hero anyway. So yeah, give me a Starjammer instead.
Can I guess? Was it Orko from the Master of the Universe realm?
That's even more creative than what I went with Pip the Troll as a support.
That's close.
It's close. It is very close. He buddies up with Silver Surfer in the cartoon a bunch, so that was where my head went for support. Otherwise, I could not think of support for the life of me, but you guys have shown that it's entirely possible. And yeah, I'll take a Starjammer or an Uatu support over Pip, and leave Pip for the hero deck.
Yeah, you know what? I think Pip the Troll is a better pick than my Ravager original choice. But I think Pip the Troll, just as a bit of a heads up, and apologies to Alcock, who did the Thanos hero version and a Incredible Hulk version, a homebrew sort of thing recently. But I've been sort of working with him, and we made that Thanos thing. But his vision is to eventually get a couple more characters in Thanos's team of Infinity Dudes or whatever they were called. And I just haven't been able to get the art quickly enough for him. But he's got rules for, I don't want to spoil them yet, but he's got rules for a couple of characters in that realm. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think Pip the Troll is one of the two that he's given me to work on. So that may be something, apologies if that's not right. There's some little guy that, that he's given me, but I'm pretty sure it's Pip the Troll. So that could be coming to the world of Marvel United Homebrew soon, Andrew. Okay. So, but in hero form rather than support. So
that's where Pip belongs.
Yeah. So another plug for different people in the Homebrew universe. Thanks to Alcock for your work as well. So good job.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Supernatural. The supernatural side of Marvel, arguably the least tapped Marvel pocket by this game. So I think this is where we're going to have the most wildly varying thoughts. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm entirely wrong and we all picked, I don't know, Loki for whatever reason. I can't wait to see how vast this goes here. Dave, your supernatural hero.
So we're going to start with a crossover.
Green Goblin.
Pip the Troll.
So actually, I'm picturing a different version of her, but Madam Web. I actually, what I would like to see, so in the promotional material for the movie, there was the actress for Madam Web was wearing what looked like a spider suit. It was like maroon, and I really liked that image, and it's not in the movie. So I'm like, I want that suit, which kind of looks like the Julia Carpenter Madam Web to a degree, with the when she has like the maroon like trench coat. But yeah, I like that look. But yeah, like a young Madam Web. I like the one from the movie. But she never ended up wearing a suit. So like she needs a superhero suit, of course. So
yeah. Beautiful. A nice callback too, all the way back to the first pocket. Great. Nelly, is it also Madam Web for you?
It is not.
Okay.
So I have Carter Slade, aka the Phantom Rider. Which, fun fact, he was Ghost Rider before Ghost Rider actually existed. So they had to change their name because he's not a spirit of vengeance. He's a literal ghost on a horse. So he was literally called Ghost Rider, and then when Marvel actually created Ghost Rider, they had to go back and change this dude's name. But yeah, no, he he has a bunch of like after dying and actually becoming like a spirit, he can go intangible, shoot like ethereal energy from like his spirit guns, and then he just looks really cool because he's all white like cowboy with like an all white like ghost horse.
Yeah. Awesome character. He was my when I did my Marvel season 4 hypothetical, he was my all-in bonus because he's the like one of the coolest looking minis I would think that you could have is the Phantom Rider. Amazing choice.
Well, boo, 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 because that's who I picked. I picked Caretaker. I think is his name Caretaker in one of the versions or something like that. I've written down here Caretaker, Carter Slade, first Ghost Rider because I didn't know anything about him. I just looked him up and like when I looked up,
I picked this one figuring nobody would.
Well, he must be pretty popular because I'm pretty sure my idea of like researching on Google is like typing a word into Google and then the first thing that comes up, I go, yep, I'll pick that one. So like, I'm pretty sure I typed in Ghost Rider characters and this guy came up or something. So, or maybe I typed in Supernatural Marvel.
Surely I'd be safe picking this guy from like the 1960s.
No, but I totally like what an awesome like he just as soon as I saw him I'm like, oh, he's amazing, like I'm picking him for sure. And yeah, he just looks really cool. What an amazing model we could have with him. If he's all ghostly, he could be like translucent on a horse, you know what I mean, like the whole thing could be amazing. But I do want to mention that I wavered because I recently saw a Marvel Snap card with like it was called the first Ghost Rider or something like that, and it was like Ghost Rider caveman on a mammoth. So it was like a flaming skull caveman guy riding a woolly mammoth, and it was like the first Ghost Rider. So I feel like someone's getting sued there because one of these two guys can't. One of them's got to be. It's like Hella and Angela. One of them's got to be the real or whatever. But that was if I'd seen that first, I don't know who I would have picked. But Carter Slade's definitely a really cool choice, and I think that'd be a cool model. So yeah.
Carter Slade. Nice. I'm very happy that there are 2 Phantom Riders on today's list. That's
wait a minute.
No,
we'll come back to it.
Okay.
So we're talking about heroes, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay.
For
some reason, he's written in my villain spot, and I don't know why because there's nothing villainous about him, right?
Right.
No, he's
all here. I think this would have been written at the same time I wrote that other list. I think it was like 3:00 in the morning and I was really asleep. So anyway, I don't have any spoiler. I don't have any hero, any villain for this list because that was my villain choice. But hey, I still argue that a ghostly dude on a horse shooting ghostly bullets and stuff is pretty scary and could be argued to be villainous. So there you go. Sorry, Andrew, I've really stuffed this list.
It's all good. I love it. We got a red Phantom Rider.
I think that'll look better, actually.
It would look pretty cool. So for heroes here, I mean, who doesn't love a good monster? The supernatural world of Marvel is full of great monsters. Now, in Marvel United, the monster representation is good, but not amazing. We've got a vampire, thanks to Dr. Michael Morbius. We've got a witch, thanks to Agatha Harkness. We've got whatever the hell Hobgoblin is, and a lot of the monster stuff is taken. But my favorite monster is still not represented in this board game, and that's why I want Nkantu the Living Mummy as our supernatural hero. Because mummies are the best. Why would you not want a mummy?
Well, I just also want to point out I noticed that you said a Green Goblin there too. So you managed to get Goblin into this
exactly
thing as well. But yeah, that's really cool because then you could really have that whole like Friday Night Fright Fest, classic American horror. I don't know if you'd say it's American, but that whole like night at the museum horror thing of like we've got the werewolf, we've got the swamp thing type thing sort of and the vampire. Yeah, so like that's like the classic archetype, having a mummy, like amazing. I feel like I'm almost I I'm skipping ahead because it's not my turn, but I feel like I almost have a visual crossover with you with that one. We'll come back to it. So
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Yeah,
All right. So
awesome.
For our supernatural villain, again, a wide pool to choose from. Who did we end up with, Dave?
So
A wide pool. I chose no one. Sorry, Dave.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to take your pick, Dan. So I have a
Yes.
three-way. I have a
Put two
three-way
in.
tie for who I want to see here.
Wow.
The first is someone who I recently discovered during, again, the Dark Web event, and I need to finish out that story to see what happened with him. But this is the guy who had kidnapped Ilyana Rasputin and trained her in magic, and that is Belasco, the ruler of Limbo. So I think he's really cool. He dresses amazing in that comic, so love him. But then he split with two other X-Men supernatural characters that I also really like, who are in the cartoon. So there is Garrock, the Petrified Man, and his priestess, Zaladane.
Zaladane!
Oh.
Yes!
That sounds cool. You know what? They sound like awesome characters, especially Zaladane sounds like... what a cool sounding name for and especially like Priestess Zaladane for Conan, because I like the idea that Conan for some reason is in the Marvel world, but I always want him to be fighting characters that sound like they're from his old, was it Howard? Is that the name of the author? Like the bad guys from his world, like priestesses and evil sorcerers and things like that. So,
these
so
totally
Zaladane.
They're
Absolutely.
from the Savage Land, so they fight.
Awesome.
Perfect. It's perfect.
How is that not in the game?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
We don't have what's his name? Khazar?
No.
Yeah. Khazar and Zabu and Shana. Is it Shana?
Yeah, Shana.
Shana, yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy that you brought Zaladane up. That's a big one. That's a big one. All right. Your supernatural villain, Mele.
So I have gone with the Queen of Evil, the Mother of Demons, Lilith.
Lilith.
Oh,
amazing. The pointy-headed one herself. Yeah.
It was actually a lot of fun, because I didn't actually know too much about her. And then, when the Midnight Suns game came out, I loved her in that, so I ended up looking up into more stuff on that. And just, there's so many things, from, the beginning of humanity that she just kind of shows up in, where she's like, oh, she may have been responsible for creating the first vampires. She may have mothered some of the ancients. She may have...
Yeah.
She's I can just picture her art, the Edouard Guiton art on a box. She's the evil head that looms over all the heroes on the box. She fits perfectly.
It just goes to show that this is a good untapped world, because these are some great picks. That this is you could really hang at least an expansion box, if not a bit of a season around sort of thing. So that's a good choice. So do you guys mind if I then I know why I said this villain first, because I was so excited about the crossover with Carter Slade that I just said that first. But I'll go back to my hero then. Apologies, I'm sort of doing this out of order. And I don't know if this one is technically, if you would count it supernatural. It's kind of just where I thought this sort of most naturally fit, because it's to do with nightmares and the dream world and that sort of stuff. And this is that visual kind of crossover almost with yourself, Andrew, in that Sleepwalker kind of is he kind of is wrapped in a lot of bandages. He almost looks like he's in aerobic sort of fuzzy leg warmer type things and stuff, but they kind of look like bandages and stuff as well. So I thought he's a really cool one for this whole magical, mystical, supernatural world sort of thing, which and he's got some cool powers. In fact, Dan from Minis from Mars is the one who sort of got me onto this one and sort of was a fan of this one as well. And so I was really excited to have him in the game sort of thing. So we built him up as well, but having an official version of him would be cool, and seeing how the creators of the like the official product, like come up with how to use his powers and stuff. It'd be really cool. I almost see him being kind of like a, Dead Man from DC, where like he sort of like he only has presence where the civilians are and that sort of stuff as well. You could do something with that. And I tried to do something along those lines, and I was trying to do stuff with like having him jump around in people's dreams in the storyline and stuff. But then I sort of discovered he doesn't really jump into other people's dreams. He just only manifests when this other kid is so he's kind of like tethered to this kid. And then when this kid is asleep, he manifests in the real world and goes fights crime. And then when the kid wakes up, he disappears, sort of thing. So he's kind of on a timer whenever he's fighting crime, because he disappears when the kid wakes up, sort of thing. So he's a cool one. And I happen to have a model here from Big Head Chibis.
Oh, nice.
So this is, you can see he kind of looks like a bit of an alien, those big-headed aliens with the wide eyes and stuff. But he's kind of like floating there. Sorry, folks, I'm not doing a good job showing that off. But yeah, so a really cool model. Apologies, I've only undercoated these, so it probably doesn't show them up nicely, but very cool. So cool model.
And he is very in demand in the United community.
Oh, really? Okay.
He was asked for several times throughout Multiverse.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. I know that Dan was a big fan of him, but I didn't know how much other people wanted him. So that's, he's cool.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So for my supernatural villain, I present you all with this dead horse, which I am going to beat, even though, it's quite dead, but I'm still going to beat it because we still do not have Mephisto. Where are you?
Yes.
Where? Like, we don't have him in the game. We don't have him in the MCU. Like, what are you doing, Marvel? Let's invent this great villain, and then we're just going to tuck him away under the carpet and never speak. Like, I cannot fathom what they are doing with this character and why he's so hidden all the time.
Wasn't he name checked in Agatha Harkness TV show?
He was, yes.
Yeah, that's it. Like just a like throwaway reference, and they were like, "What? What'd you say? Nothing. Legally, we can't say anything."
But like, come on, throw some fire on that mini. Put him in a big throne if you want. Just let's go. Let's get him on the board already. That's all I have to say. I want Mephisto in my life.
We technically have a little crossover there too with the chat, because way up in the chat someone mentioned Mephisto.
That's right.
Too. I don't know who it was, but yeah, Mephisto. Yeah, good choice.
He's in demand.
What? Hey, wait a minute. Is that everyone's villain? Almost everyone's villain. How did we not get a crossover there with Mephisto too? I feel like if I had remembered to write an actual villain down, I probably would have written Mephisto. I know that. So I'll throw you a half crossover there, because I think I would have. I would have wanted to see a model for Derek's done a homebrew of that too. So I was going to film that, actually do a battle of that recently, and then I realized I hadn't printed the location that's mandatory. So Derek's come up with a location for it, and I hadn't printed that out. So I was like, I can't film that one yet. I've got to go print that out. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that in action then, because I remember seeing the dashboard. I'm like, okay, finally somebody's making Mephisto. Yeah. All right. Who is your purple, Dave?
All right, so my purple is starting off with a crossover. So, and it's also another goblin.
Yes!
Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen. I don't usually think of her as the Goblin Queen. But yeah, definitely Madeline Pryor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess she would be supernatural, wouldn't she? Like, there's...
Especially if you address her by that title. Like, yeah, cool.
And one of the things that was pretty fun in late Krakoan era, she had her own version of Cerebro that used magic. It was like a skull thing that she like put on to find people.
I gotta read these Krakoa things, man. It's just everything I hear about Krakoa is juicy. All right, Nelly.
So I have chosen Damon Hellstorm, who is the son of Satan.
Oh wow, that's a cool name. Yeah. Now, is he like a kid, or is he like scary evil kid, or is he like a grown dude at this time, like when he's featured?
He's like young adult age.
Okay.
When the son of Satan, he maintained like a civilian identity while he was like in college, so around that age. joined with like the Defenders for a bit, helped Ghost Rider out a couple times. I don't know if it's confirmed, but it's also like Dormammu is his alleged grandfather.
Okay. Wow. Oh man, the comics are wild. Awesome.
What a Thanksgiving dinner that would be at his house. All right, nice pick.
So all right, I think I've got this in the right order now. So we're back in action, and I was trying really hard not to interrupt Dave at the beginning of his thing. I feel like every time it's been Dave's turn, I've like had something I wanted to say and I've interrupted. So my apologies, Dave, throughout this thing. I'll try and be better. But I said, now I think his name is Jericho Drum, another awesome name, and he is sometimes known as Brother Voodoo, I think, and I think he's got something to do with like the Doctor Strange world. So he's once been the supreme sorcerer and that sort of thing as well. But he's also got this like ghost of his brother living inside him or something, and sometimes he goes by Dr. Voodoo. So I think sometimes he can be good, sometimes he can be bad,
cool.
and stuff. But he just seemed like a really cool like. Because I kind of associate the supernatural and the mystical stuff together in my brain. So
Same,
I've kind of blended those together sort of thing. So I guess he's kind of more mystical with the whole Doctor Strange thing. But yeah, I just think he'd be a really cool one for that world. Yeah, so, yep. Jericho Drum, cool name.
That's awesome. If I had known that Brother Voodoo had that dual thing going on, I probably would have picked him instead of who I picked. Because I really want Brother Voodoo. But who I picked was I went with Damon Hellstorm.
Oh, there you go.
Just that guy with a big old pitchfork and some daddy issues galore. But I thought that was a fun character who I learned about through United as well, and just the United community. So yeah, Damon Hellstorm. All right, we are on the support characters now. This is cool. Okay. Dave, who's supporting you?
So speaking of Damon Hellstorm, I'm finding out now that he was at one point married to Hellcat.
Yep.
Oh.
That's pretty cool. I think she was She-Hulk's roommate at some point. I don't know. They're definitely friends. But yeah. All right. Support characters. Oh, well, supernatural support. And this probably would be a negative support as well. This is the Queen of the Otherworld, Saturnine. From Excalibur and Captain Britain.
That's a whole world I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
If you read X of Swords, you'll get a really good introduction to the modern take on that, which is fun.
X of Swords, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely like you know how like so many anime will go that stupid tournament period in the show. This is the stupid tournament period.
That amazing tournament period of the show. Yeah. Awesome.
And her name is Saturnine, you said?
Yeah, Saturnine.
Saturnine. Okay.
Or the White Opal, I think. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's
nice. All right, very cool.
Good choice.
Nelly, who's supporting you in the Netherworld?
So I have Sarah, also known as Caretaker.
Oh.
I don't know her either. Let's see.
Caretaker.
What's her deal?
So I first learned, I know more about her from, once again, the video game Midnight Suns. She, along with like Agatha, she and Agatha effectively, like, at least in that game, train up the Midnight Suns. In the comics, she's the granddaughter of like the previous caretaker, and was like part of like an order of nuns that trained to be soldiers of God. She also became like a teacher at like the Strange Academy at one point, so very much still kind of doing that whole like teaching of magic, but also, you know, fighting when needed. She helped like save like Danny during like a Spirit of Corruption arc that was going on, where she had to like remove the spirit of vengeance from Johnny after he was crowned the king of hell.
Well, I think I'm going to say I've got a slight crossover with you because you said Caretaker, and for some reason I wrote down Caretaker next to Carter Slade's name. So I don't know if Carter Slade ever went by the moniker Caretaker, maybe when they had to change him from Ghost Rider or something. But I don't know why I wrote that down, but that was on my notes from before. So I'm going to say I've got a crossover with you, even though they've got nothing to do with each other. So that's cool. But my support was I was struggling with this one again because I don't really know this world very much, but I do remember watching the Blade movies, and I know that a vampire is supernatural, and I know that that vampire had a man in the chair who was his support guy, his wingman, and that was Ryan Reynolds. No, it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. It was the Whistler. Is it Chris Christopherson? Is that his name?
Yeah,
That played him? Yep. So yeah, Whistler is my pick for support because like if ever there was a classic like support character, he was like the support character for Blade in those movies. Until Ryan Reynolds and what was the girl's name? Jessica Biel showed up. But they'd be heroes in their own right. I think Whistler was more of a support character. So yeah, he was cool. And he's also the sort of the sort of character that, you know, like a support character can get kidnapped or used as leverage against a hero. You know what I mean? Like they support them, but they're also not strong enough usually that if the enemies get to them, then they become a liability for the hero. And I feel like that's what kind of support characters are going to be a bit like in the game as well. So
right. That's cool, man. I always forget that Blade exists.
Right.
He's always so off my radar. But that's great. And Whistler was in the cartoons as well. He popped up in SpiderMan a bunch. So I love that. I am 100% down for that. I went with a very odd deep cut here. I went to my Skybox trading cards for this one. I went with the leader of the Darkhold Redeemers, Vicky Montesi.
Wow, that's a big title.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll all fit on the card. We'll see what happens. But she's just like this cool looking lady who leads the Darkhold Redeemers, which Blade is actually a part of. So there you go. Blade made his way back into my memory. But yeah, just the idea that she's like, I think she's always trying to protect the Darkhold from evil forces, but I don't think she has powers. I think she's just like a lady with a gun. I could be wrong, but she's always who I go to in my head when I think of supernatural Marvel characters that are not quite the big heavy hitters. As a trading card memory, I want her in the game.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. So
before we leave this, I just want to point out under Caretaker, I looked her up, and her editorial name. So I guess before they decided to give her a real name, she's listed as Nunchuck Nun.
Oh, that's a crime that they haven't stuck with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That name is right. That's some fruit that's ripe for the plucking. Wow. Okay, our final category, our final pocket of the Marvel Universe, and it's arguably it could be the easiest or the hardest one, depending on how you look at it. It's literally anything else, miscellaneous, people who don't fit into any of the other places.
Andrew, this just says X-Men Part 2 on my screen.
Oh, you're right. That's exactly what I meant when I said miscellaneous. Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting grab bag. If we have crossover year, I'm going to be really impressed.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Dave.
I already have a crossover here, but not for the hero. But so for the hero, I really just wanted a representative of X-Men 2099, and I chose Cerebra, who also shows up in the Krakoan arc as a time traveler in that.
Nice.
She was their mutant finder in X-Men 2099. She could like detect the X gene in people. So she was the person that helped them like assemble the team.
So similar to like Caliban in a sense, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Cerebra.
Good one.
I like that a lot.
Her name was actually like one of the main character like making fun of her. because it was like, oh, so you're like the Cerebro that we have. So he called her Cerebra, and it just stuck. So.
Yeah.
That's
Well, when
also
you-
what X-Men fans call themselves if they're all in the gym together. They're Cerebros.
Cerebros, yeah.
When you said Cerebra at first, I thought, oh, is this like they've built like a body for Cerebro, and now Cerebro walks
So
around.
I think that is also a thing at some point.
Oh,
that is-
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Cerebro does eventually gain sentience and
Wow.
start moving around and attacking.
Very cool.
All right, Nelly, who's your
Mm.
blue miscellaneous person?
All right, so if I have a crossover with anybody, I'm going to sue. I have Four Bushman. He is
Four Bushman?
He is a like a fourth wall breaking. He originally he was an office gopher at Marble Comics, B instead of a V, and he became a superhero, which was just literally like put like a bag on his head, get like a torn cape, and or like a pot on his head, and he triumphed over several superpowered villains. However, all of his victories were purely accidental.
Wow.
So he has no powers. It was just all like dumb luck that just kind of played a major role in him winning.
We
Wow.
need him. We need him on the board with Condiment King and Paste Pot.
Yes.
Pete, I think for sure.
He's also applied some very like gimmick versions of like official groups. So the Revengers, instead of Shield, he applied to Sheesh.
Very cool.
He's my favorite already. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I had to go. This is Heroes, so I had to go with a hero I really would love to see in the game. And luckily, I've made my own version, but I'd love to see an official take, and that is Conan. So another Big Head Chibi's version here. I'd love to see Conan in the game for the. He's in the Savage Avengers or the Secret Avengers? I think the Savage Avengers. So he's in Marvel. So I'd really love to see Conan. Yeah, just such a cool character. And then again, if we're going into the supernatural realm or this or that, and being able to see those sorts of like sorceresses and magic users and things like that, and have him as like a foil to them, I think that'd be really cool. And you could have some really fun powers, and not powers, but like fun feats and stuff through his cards and stuff. I think he'd be a good one.
Yeah.
And maybe you could have a card called Crom or something like that. So.
I love it. And then you have him fight Mr. Freeze when DC comes out.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I love it. And that's a great. Big Head did a great job with that Conan.
Yeah,
too.
and you know what's awesome about this? This was like I think it was even like a Christmas gift. I think it was like it was like that Christmas or something. It was like a bonus one you could get, sort of thing. But I think along with all of his things, I think if you've missed out on the month with the Patreon, like I think all of his stuff is up on that Colts 3D place where you can get the STL files and stuff. So if you like him, he's available there.
Okay.
But he's awesome. And I kind of want to go back maybe and redo his cards with art from Irwin, because I think at the time I just used a single image across all his cards. I'd love to redo that deck with updated art. I think not that the art that I used was Chasper KC in the Discord sort of modified. I think he modified. What's the guy you love with the green hair and he's like this Doctor of Hulk? He like puts Hulk on the couch.
Doc Samson.
Yeah. So he used existing art of Doc Samson, but like modified the art to make it look like Conan. So I've used that, which is great, but I think I'd love to have like the fully fleshed deck with like all the art and stuff. So
sweet. Conan's a good choice.
All
right, my miscellaneous hero. I love me some translucent effects, and I also love me when a character complements a pre-existing character really well. And this has both. So I went with my friend Namorita. Clone / cousin of Namor. I can't keep track anymore, but she's some kind of Namor, and I want her on the game.
Yep, get some more water effects there. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Give me Namorita. So that was my pick for my hero. Now it's villain time. I think things are going to get really wild in the villains category here. As if it could get any wilder than Four Bush Man, but
hold on to that thought. I hold on to that.
All right, Dave, who's your red miscellaneous?
So mine is again a representative character. This is Harvest from the Phalanx Covenant. I really love this guy.
Yeah.
He's so the Phalanx were this techno organic monstrosity, and they were kind of pitched as this next generation Sentinels. But Harvest was particularly terrifying because he was kind of cut off from the general Phalanx. But when he caught people, he tracked them. So that's one of the people he's caught, and that's their face just screaming forever as part of his chest. Yeah. So he had 4 of those by the end. It was pretty great.
Yeah, that's a terrifying one. That's definitely villain territory. Yeah.
Good choice. I like that. All right, Mele.
All right, so we have Black Talon, who his predecessors worshipped a chicken deity. He, however, went a different way. He chose to follow a duck deity. And for this purpose, he ordered his followers to kidnap Howard the Duck. That way he could sacrifice him to the duck deity.
Nice.
This guy is incredible.
That's a great.
Oh my god.
Oh, we need to have that. We need a chibi model of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we definitely do.
Oh, mate.
Okay. Top that, Maple Monkey.
Well, I don't know if I could top the glory that was that, but I could definitely match the wild motif you asked for. You said that you wanted something wild, and I can definitely give you something wild. It's also a callback to a mention at the top of the video. Someone mentioned this, and I said, shh, secret, because we've got to save it for now. Heavy metal. We need the heavy metal, brute forces, bad guys. What's more wild than a bunch of animals? We've got the gorilla. We've got the shark, I want to say. I think
hold on. You got to get their names. Their names are great.
Their names are amazing. Yeah. They're so good. So shout out to Mateo from the Discord who loves his brute force stuff. If we've got brute force in the game, we are going to need, heavy metal. And what a cool name for brute force versus heavy metal.
Yeah.
Force. And I think there's a rhino. Is there a rhino there?
There's a rhino, a shark, an octopus, and a eagle, I think.
Eagle, vulture, probably. Yeah. Man, so good.
They're so hard. Oh man.
Their names are so good.
Their names are Uproar, Armory, Ramrod, Tailgunner, and Bloodbath.
Yeah. You know what they remind? They remind me of Transformer Decepticon names. Those are those are classic Decepticon names.
You know why? You know why, Dan?
Why?
The creator is Bob Budiansky. He wrote the original Transformer profile.
Really? Whoa! How? Who? I know in previous videos we've done, Andrew, where we've talked about brute force. There's been comments in the comment section, people dismissing the idea of brute force being in this game. Mate, how could you be against brute force, heavy metal, and with names by the creator of the Transformers and stuff? That's crazy. Everyone has to be on board. That's just, I'm sorry. It's just heavy metal has to be a thing.
From now on, anybody who says there's nobody good left for season 4, you are automatically wrong.
Objectively wrong.
Yeah.
Heavy metal is my choice, and again, it's cheating, but it's a team battle. That's my excuse. I'm going to say it's a team battle, but you could also break them up into their individual fights. That's So very cool.
So cool. All right, I knew this was going to be my favorite pocket. Okay. So remember how I talked about Mephisto and how the game never gave him to us and the MCU never gave him to us? Mm-hmm. With this villain, it's a villain that the game never gave to us, and then the MCU almost gave it to us, and then they said, nope, we lied.
Oh.
I want Rama Tut.
Yeah.
I want a Kang who is different from the other Kangs. Yeah. And this one has an Egyptian thing going on, so you can fight him with Nkantu the Living Mummy. Where's Rama Tut? Bring it on. That's my villain.
Yeah, good choice. Good
You
choice.
can't show me that, Marvel Studios, and then take it away from me. You can't.
Man, that sucked.
All right,
Mm.
anti-hero time. Where are we possibly going with this, Dave?
Okay, so again, I've got another 2 characters here that are tied. So one was mentioned in the comments before, and that is Silver Sable. And the other, I don't think I've seen mentioned, but there's been people in the homebrew scene that have been interested in making this, and that is Omega Sentinel.
Yes.
Oh.
And Omega Sentinel, there's a really weird backstory in it, but she shows up in the Krakoan era as a villain after having been a hero for a while. But it actually gets a good explanation later. But she's terrifying, along with Nimrod from that group. But yeah, Silver Sable. Oh my god, I fell in love with her from that Uncanny SpiderMan story, because it's her and Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler is like such a player. It's crazy, but he's just like he's being hunted by Silver Sable because of contract for whatever, and then they're hooking up when they're in off hours.
That's awesome.
And they were singing that Layla Cheney song. It was great.
Yeah.
She's such a classic character and like doesn't get enough love. And I learned something great about Silver Sable not long ago. I was watching the Spider-Man cartoon and she pops up and I hear her talk and I'm like, where do I know that voice from? And it's the woman who played Russo on Lost, the crazy French woman who was stuck on the island. She voiced Silver Sable. And I just, everything converged in my mind and that made me very happy.
Awesome.
All right. Nelly, your purple miscellaneous.
Allow me to tell you a quick story. Our story takes place in Mexico. A priest who decided to dedicate his life to religion to help him feel fulfilled. One day, he meets Deadpool. Deadpool visits his church and confesses to him. And after this confession, the priest concluded that there's just no good in the world. It took Deadpool just one confession to break this man. This man dresses up as Deadpool and becomes Massacre, effectively the Deadpool of Mexico.
Oh my god.
Very cool.
Where is he? This is what's coming up.
Yep, that's him. He takes the name Massacre, inspired by Deadpool, swears that he will fix Mexico, and when he's done fixing Mexico, he will travel to the United States to join forces with his idol.
I love these off the wall. These are very cool. Yeah, taking miscellaneous to great new heights. Very cool. Well, I, in the theme of continuing to plug more homebrew models and things like that, I went with a character I think that could be a good candidate for purple, and that is Hit Monkey. So I think this is my last model to show off here, but there is a Big Head Chibi's model of Hit Monkey here with his little Uzis, and he's jumping over a barrel. Whoopsie daisy, sorry guys. He's just such a cool character. Ever since I heard about this character, I've loved him. I really love that show. I forget what channel it's on at the moment, but there's a couple of seasons recently of like an animated series with Hit Monkey in it. And he's cool in the comics and stuff as well. But I think he'd be a really cool candidate for both, because he is essentially like this homicidal monkey going around Punisher style, just like murdering bad guys and stuff like that. So you could definitely see a case where heroes would be sort of like teaming up to sort of like stop him. They might be doing a thing and then he sort of is in the background and they sort of run into him and try and stop him because he's trying to murder like who they're trying to like interrogate or something like that. So I think he could be a cool candidate for both, but he's just such a great character. I don't really care how we fit him into the game. I think he needs to be there. And if you like him and you're interested in homebrew stuff, we've got a version of him already with a deck and everything, but I'd love to see an official version, and then that way we could team up with the little blue guy from the Wonder Twins, the little monkey. Was it Gleek or something?
Yeah,
Gleek, and then take down Gorilla Grodd. That'd be fun. So
that's right, and throw Detective Chimp in there.
I forgot. Yeah, Detective
there
Chimp.
You
absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, Hit Monkey's awesome. Yeah, that's an amazing pick. All right, so my anti-hero. This is a character who season 1 came along, it came and went, and I'm like, oh, they didn't put him in here. I'm a little surprised. Season 2, I get it. Season 2 is about X people, so I'm like, all right, he doesn't really belong. Season 3 came and went, and again, he didn't show up, and I'm like, what is happening? Why do we not have M'Baku the Man-Ape, the greatest character from the Black Panther movies, in this game? He is a quintessential anti-hero. He's been a villain many times. He helps the Wakandans many times. He's just so much fun as a character in that movie. He's outstanding. So I want M'Baku the Man-Ape, and like the Wakandan world that can open up to, like, you could come with some friends that we haven't seen yet from there. So yeah, bring them on.
And there was really room in that box, right? It's like it's known as one of the boxes with like one of the fewest character like counts in the boxes, and arguably he had one of the biggest, if not biggest, impacts in the cultural sphere from that movie because of that M'Baku challenge. Remember, that was a huge thing on TikTok and everything. Everyone was doing the M'Baku challenge where, what were they doing? They were giving the speech or something that he does or something like that. Like, do you remember there was that thing on social media where all the hip youngsters were like, I think they were like repeating he gives a speech or something in that movie. And it was like, can you like word for word repeat the speech or something like that? It was a whole thing, the M'Baku challenge. It was like,
so he went viral.
He went viral. That's what I'm saying. So to your point, how was he? There was room in the box. He was a clear candidate, even if they hadn't thought of anti-heroes at that point in season 1. Like he should have been like a hero in that box at least.
There's at least like 7 characters at least who belong in that box more than Winter Soldier belongs in that box. Like Winter Soldier belonged in the Kickstarter promo box there. I don't know what was going on there, but bring him on. Come on, he's a season 4 like shoo-in. All right, the final challenge here. Our support character in the miscellaneous world. Dave, who did you go to?
So this was my crossover, but I'm giving myself a backup slot. So my crossover, so I actually got introduced to these characters later than you did, Dan, because you read them in the X Factor. But I know them from X, and so Artie and Leech and Franklin are a trio, and they hang out together. So Franklin Richards.
Cool. I think you mean Child Richards.
Child Richards.
That's right. So my backup slot for that is someone that I was absolutely convinced was in season 1. I was like so confused when I opened season 1, got it, and I'm like, where the hell is this character? I'm sure he was one of the first promo characters. Is Agent Coulson. I was so sure he was there, and he wasn't. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Especially because that was like the MCU season, right? It was so MCU centric. How was he not? He was kind of like a character that tied them all together because he sort of showed up in that Thor movie. No, he showed up in some movie where he was like at the hammer at the end of the movie or something, didn't he? It was introducing Thor. I forget what movie that was, but like, I think I'm getting that right. But anyway, he kind of was in all of those ones and sort of tied them all together in that first Avengers movie. So it's crazy that he wasn't in that since it was the MCU season. Yeah.
Yeah, he was big connective tissue. Yeah, he would be. People would love to see him in the game. He gets dropped a lot in the comment section. So
yeah, and actually, the show he was with that show too. You know, the Shield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So definitely good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Nelly, who do you got?
So sticking with Deadpool, because as you can see, I love him. My support is the Merc with half a mouth, Headpool.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, the floating zombified head of Deadpool.
That's amazing.
Flies
that would be a
around
really
with a little
fun
propeller beanie hat.
Yeah, just the mini alone would be a ton of fun. The way they come up with it.
I like to think there's no base; it's just the head that just rolls on the location.
Yeah, I think sort of along those lines of Deadpool. I think I didn't write this one, but a good support character would be Peter from the Deadpool movies. Just that guy. He just shows up. It's like, I want to go home now. So I don't know. Someone's actually made a hero deck for him in the homebrew community, but literally every card is like, there's nothing on the card. He adds nothing to your team. He's got like special cards that again do nothing. It's just like I want to go home now and stuff like that. It's just
amazing.
A great character. But I have said, along with Hitmonkey, I thought it'd be fun to have a support choice for this. Would be, and he goes by two names in the show. I think I forget which one is his real name, but Bryce. So it's not a very exciting name for a character, but Bryce. He's essentially Hitmonkey's ghost pal. So basically, the whole sort of story with Hitmonkey starts because this hitman assassin guy sort of gets stranded in the wilderness and gets adopted by this tribe of monkeys up in the hot springs, Japan sort of thing, and those snow monkeys. And he's played so well. He's such a fun character in the cartoon by, I think it's what's the soccer coach, funny guy with the mustache, that TV show.
The Ted Lasso guy.
Ted Lasso guy. He's played by that guy. And he's so funny. But so essentially, he's a real asshole, wise guy, a sleazebag sort of thing. But then he gets murdered by these like agents or whatever that come and find him. But it also like they kill all the monkeys of Hitmonkey's tribe or whatever. And then the hitman guy, he gets resurrected, so almost like his ghost gets tethered to Hitmonkey when Hitmonkey goes on this like rampage and picks up the guns and stuff, because he sort of watches the agent training and stuff in the snow, and he learns how to fight as a human somehow just by watching him. And so then he puts on this suit and he gets these guns and stuff, and he kills all these guys, and then the ghost guy is talking to him, so he's only Hitmonkey can see this ghost, and for some reason can understand him speaking English and stuff. And then the ghost takes him to Japan or somewhere and meets his agent, and then like Hitmonkey gets hired by like this guy's agent and becomes like a hitman and runs around. And so he's always being followed by this ghost who only he can see. And so the ghost can't really interact with the world, but he can like put his head into like the wall next door and see how many bad guys there are and all this sort of stuff. But he also can't move too far away from him. Like if they try and leave each other, like the ghost kind of gets messed up. So he has to he always like respawns back where. So it'd be really fun to have like a support character that somehow is like tethered to, so like Hitmonkey kind of has to travel around with him, and it can kind of help him out, but can't physically interact with the world and stuff. And in the show, there's actually certain ways where he can kind of interact a little bit, but generally he can't, sort of thing. But I just think that'd be an interesting thing. And when I was actually designing the cards for the Hitmonkey deck, I almost sort of made a companion deck of Bryce, and I actually ordered art from Irwin, which I never ended up using because I never put it into the deck, but I've got art with Hitmonkey standing with this guy in the elevator, just kind of waiting there, sort of thing. So, so not a very exciting pick, but I think he'd be a really fun one to go along with Hitmonkey, sort of thing. So,
he's cool, and he's unique, and he'd probably be a translucent mini too. So,
it'd be like this greenish, bluish, greenish sort of thing. Yeah.
So, this is presented as a hero, but what I'm hearing is a schizophrenic monkey who talks to a ghost
Yeah.
who taught himself how to shoot guns and kills people.
Yeah.
This sounds like
That's
a
why-
horror movie.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've got him in AntiHero. That's why I put Hit Monkey as an AntiHero. Look and see.
Yeah, we need the Mike Flanagan version of this story.
Seriously, that if you haven't seen this show, check it out. It's real good. Like he kind of makes the show what it is. Like Hit Monkey, I love the idea. I love Hit Monkey. He's a great character. But what makes the show watchable and relatable is this Bryce character, because he's kind of your window into the world. He's who you're like relating with and stuff. And Hit Monkey's kind of almost like a side character in it, sort of thing. So yeah, it's really cool.
Nice, good picks. All right. My support here, this is where we're getting into the realm of this character is not in our locations with us. He is moving around the storyline.
Oh, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because such is the way when you are Mobius of the TVA.
Oh, yes.
That is exactly how you would roll. You would walk up and down the storyline. You'd be like, "Wow, this guy's using his starting hand card, okay." And you just have all kinds of fun getting that going, and he would help you out with whatever he does. I'll leave that for Andrea and whatever to figure out. But that's what I want to see. I think that would be so much fun.
Yes, yeah, and only if we can get the little sound base with Andrew's not Owen Wilson's voice, but Andrew's impression of Owen Wilson's voice in the little bass. That'd be great. Yeah, I love it.
Maybe he's holding a little slice of key lime pie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, I hope at least one person from CMON saw and heard all of that, because there's that is how many. I don't know the math here. I'm not a math person, but we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories, and each of us brought 4 people to those categories. So somebody smarter than me do that math. That's a lot of ideas, and I hope that they all get used, because they're all great ideas.
Yeah.
104. There you go.
See, easily a season.
And yes, some of them are crossovers, but that's okay. That just means less expensive minis for you to produce, CMON. There you go. And it just means more demand for those characters, because clearly, if all 4 of us, who clearly we have demonstrated that we are nothing if not diverse in our tastes for Marvel, but yet we had so many crossovers because there's so many characters that still are just like essential to the Marvel experience.
Yeah, like real obvious, like, wow, yeah, like we need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mexico Deadpool.
The chicken guy.
Oh my god. Was his name Black Falcon? Is that his name?
Black Talon.
Black Talon.
Yeah.
That's even
So
better
good.
than Black Falcon. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, really quickly, so because we're pushing the edge of 4 hours here. But does anybody have anything they quickly want to plug or announce or say before we log off tonight?
Should we go through in the same order?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Well, I don't have anything going on right now, but I've been planning on building up this Transformers United thing, and they just did the latest wave of them that just launched, and it's kind of annoying because the parts in order to assemble Devastator are like something you have to special order. Got it. I'm ordering it through Show Z Store because they can like import it in, but it's only like $18 shipped. But yeah, I have to make a Devastator, right?
yeah.
So yeah, but that's the thing I'm probably going to be working on sooner than anything else.
I like that. And I'm of the mind where I would rather see Transformers in chibi than in their normal state. Yeah, I think they just look cooler like that.
They look so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're the blockies, they're the defender range, right? Yeah, that's the size you want. They're so good. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Nelly? Anything you want to plug or announce?
Yeah, sure. So as always, you can find me. I stream video games on Twitch. I record video games on YouTube. I make a bunch of homebrew stuff on the CMON Discord, Nelly's United Homebrew. I have a new Naruto villain coming out tomorrow. And here is the picture of that Momo Peach armor that the armor that I want specifically. I don't know how well that shows up.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like the almost samurai look that the armor has in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, come by and say hi. I make stuff quite literally every week, and somehow I've kept that up for 2 years. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, and so myself, Dan, or the Mele Monkey, I've got a YouTube channel where I mostly sort of play Marvel United, and I've sort of really been leaning into trying to show off the homebrew world of Marvel United as well. So check that out, and I'm trying to lean into some other stuff as well. But currently, my biggest project, I guess, at the moment is still continuing to work on G.I. Joe United, which is being supported. I guess unofficially, but supported by Big Head Chibis, and I really like all the models they're making for that as well. So we're making decks and things like that. So if you like your United and you like G.I. Joe, we're doing that. I've been inspired by James, who was in the comments. If you're still there, shout out to James, to go back and revisit my Warriors Orochi line of characters, because he made a really cool, or he's making a really cool Toyotomi Hideyoshi, apologies for I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but that character, he's making a character, so it's inspired me to go back and make some like Tokugawa, and doing some like Huangzhong and different characters that I sort of never hit in the first wave when I made those. So I'm having fun going back and exploring that world. And I'll be playing more zombie side. I'm trying to sort of splice in a bit more zombie side-esque type games in with the Marvel United content, so keep an eye out for that sort of stuff. And I don't know, I may be able to get some Cthulhu Death May Die and maybe even Massive Darkness involved and stuff as well, but I'll definitely try to be working out ways that I can film that easily and make it watchable and that sort of thing as well. But yeah, apart from that, so I'm just going to be playing a lot more Marvel United and showcasing all of these guys homebrew stuff. So Dave's stuff is fantastic, Nelly's stuff, Martin VZ, Derek and Helios 23, James and Alcock, all these guys. Andrew Fantasia's even got Hydroman there as well. So I really want to keep supporting the homebrew community and seeing what's out there, and places like Big Head Chibis that support that world with the models being made for them as well. I did want to say, Andrew, I'd like to touch base with you at some point down the track this year and make another homebrew character, but maybe this time we delve into DC, and you can introduce us to a DC character that you think was missing from that thing, and especially if things are looking a little bit rocky, maybe we have to put the glove on and do it ourselves. So so that's something to look forward to as well. And last thing I want to plug is that definitely check out Big Ed Chibis one last time, because they're about to start launching into Nelly's world of awesome stuff, and the first one they're going to be investigating is Castlevania. I'm a little worried about lots of tiny thin whips in chibi form. I hope they don't break.
Yeah, no,
your models them won't rolled up. So maybe they'll have swords or something, but
it was incredibly difficult to make so many guy with whip characters and make them different. I don't know how you're going to make the different models.
Yeah, I'm just hoping the whips are rolled up on their belts or something.
Yeah.
They're going, fisticuffs or something. But yeah, looking forward to that, because there's a lot of really cool characters in that realm, and Nelly makes great homebrew stuff. So I really want to check that out. So yeah, that's my plugs.
Awesome. I guess you can find me here mostly on Digital Charcuterie or on the Andrew Fantasia channel. Not many videos in the pipeline, really. There's a couple down the road, but it's kind of a busy season at work, so I'll do what I can. But then there's also, there's some wizard activity going on. It's like paranormal activity, but better, because it's not done via a bunch of home cameras. So these are the cameras that tell the story. You can get these on Amazon right now. Seekers of the Stones is book 1. Ghost of Wizard's Past is book 11, but that's okay. You're supposed to read it that way. It's not supposed to be book 2 that reads second. In fact, you could technically read either of them first. It's very George Lucas-y in that way. But those are available now on Amazon, and the sequels are quickly making their way down the track as well. So hopefully those will be out sooner rather than later. And speaking of hopefully, I think the last thing that I want to say, and I'm sure you guys all agree with me, is that we are pouring all of our hope and good karma into DC Superheroes United and into CMON and everybody who works at CMON, and just hoping that all goes well so that it's just a win-win-win for everybody across the board, because that would be nice, right?
And I think I'd like to also just say, because with what's been happening with CMON as well, regardless of what ends up happening, I'm still really grateful to the team that was there, that made this game a reality for us and that sort of thing. And I can only imagine that there are probably some people in that team that have created this for us that sort of were sort of on the receiving end of like bad news and maybe let go from CMON in their restructure and that sort of thing, because they've had to sort of focus less on development and more on producing what they've got at the moment. So just a shout out to those people and a thank you to those people for the great work that they've provided us and the fun that they've provided us. And I hope that things go well for them and they get new opportunities and wish them well, sort of thing, because it's an unfortunate situation in people, because we can all complain about, oh no, CMON's not making our games anymore, but also that those people, that's their livelihoods and things like that. So
Exactly.
and they've done a great job for us. So thank you to the CMON team and hope things are going well for you on a personal level, sort of thing. So yeah,
100%. Yeah, thank you to everybody, because clearly you gave us so much fun that we just spent 4 hours talking about parts of that fun that don't even exist yet. So
that we want you to work on.
Yeah, if anything, use this video as your resume if you're trying to find other places to go to, because clearly you have talent, because look what you have inspired. So yeah, thank you to all those people. And here's hoping that we all continue to make the wait for DC Superheroes United a little bit shorter and a whole lot sweeter, and eventually a wait that will have a happy ending. Here's hoping. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.